Ever followed Jim Cramer into an investment and then the next morning been immediately down 5%? Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. Today is the Thursday, June 12th edition. Also, the opening of the U.S. Open. That's going to be wild. We got some stuff to go through here today. Futures under pressure from a Boeing plane crash, which is just really, really terrible. We're going to break down the news. We're also expecting PPI here in about 30 minutes. We'll see if that confirms what we saw yesterday. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook for Thursday, June 12th starts right now. Good morning and welcome back, everybody. I hope that you had a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. And if you're a Pacers fan, you are probably really stoked here this morning. And if you're a golf fan, you cannot wait. You cannot wait for today like me. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. Hi, Kayla. Hello. First, good morning. Welcome back. EKS. Great to see you here. Good morning. Oracle, plus 8.78% out with earnings, sees huge demand for AI cloud business. All right, AI is going to keep running the show here. Zach McCracken, good morning. Gut feeling move liquidated all my positions last night except my long holds. Okay, you think we're going up. We'll see if the PPI helps kick that in the pants here. Pete, good morning. Great to see you again. Paul, good morning. Except my long term. Gotcha, Zach. Okay. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Sun-Kissed Yogi, good morning. Yassine, good morning. Big Abees, good morning. Yes, indeed. Happy Thursday. Let's get that. Yeah, so fine. Good morning, everybody. Let's go. Producers locked in, ready to go. EKS reminding us that GME is getting absolutely slaughtered here. That's trading here today. We will see how that goes. 3D, buenos dias. Good morning, 3D. Nice to see you again. Jonathan, good morning. DCL, good morning. Day Trader, good morning. Shanlu Trading, good morning. Chuck, Jane, and Neville, good morning. Brandy's locked in. MD, Wiss, Dave Trader, good morning. Honey Badger, good morning. Quantum, Catherine, Tom, 9/11 Museum Workshop, good morning. Stock Trader for Life, good morning. And Capital Cuts with K's. Good morning, folks. All right, let's go ahead and dive right in here. Good morning, Dirkus, and anyone else that I may have missed. Let's go ahead and get started here. We're going to start with the morning update. As mentioned, we do have the PPI coming at 8:30. That's happening in 27 minutes from now. We'll bring that to you as soon as that comes out. Futures under pressure here today, and unfortunately, a lot of that has to do with Boeing, which is dragging down the Dow here. We're going to cover that here in a little bit. We do have a couple of IPOs here today. Chime, which I know several of you are waiting for. I'll be interested to see how this trades here today. Unsure if I'm going to trade it today. I actually did buy some Voyager yesterday, VOYG, and carried it over today. I have a $57 average on that, so we're up a couple of points here. Unsure if I'm going to trade Chime today, but out of the two listed here, that's the one I like the most. We do have a couple of conferences here. I don't know if there's anything really crazy that we should go over on this here, but there are a couple of conferences going on that are going to affect some stocks, so we'll see if we have any trades from that. As far as the analyst initiations here, we did have an outperform on Dave. I think that was pretty much the big one here. Shout out, honorable mention here to the Terra Wolf buy rating from Rosenblatt. That's down 4% here today. As far as earnings go, the big ones, we got Adobe and Restoration Hardware tonight. Those are going to be your big ones. We did have Oracle, I think, last night? Looks like Nano Dimensions also after the market closes here today. So we do have a couple of earnings. Nothing really notable on the downgrades or the upgrades here today. Let's flip over to the chart and let's start with Boeing because this is the news of the day here. We're going to start here with the chart. and then I'll go in and break down everything that's going on for those of you that are just waking up or maybe missed this here. We had just talked about Boeing just being an excellent trade, the stock here being an excellent trade from the lows on April 7th, really made pretty much almost a vertical move higher, started to slow down a little bit at this trend line, but was able to actually trade above the trend line and looked like it was doing a fairly regular back test of this trend line before this tragedy struck here. You can see Boeing is actually down here 13 and a half bucks. This is interesting because this was actually, it's a little bit up off the lows. It was actually a little bit lower than this earlier in the pre-market. So we'll see what happens here. We're very early in this, so there's still going to be some information coming out, and that's going to affect everything. Here's what we know so far. In Air India, Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner crashed on Thursday near the Ahmedabad, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, trying, with 442 passengers on board. The flight was en route to London Gatwick from Ahmedabad. The Air India flight AI-171 met its tragic fate shortly after takeoff from I'm going to try it here. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport on Thursday. The passenger aircraft, a Boeing 787 Dreamliner with a capacity of 300, crashed in the Menghangi area of the city. Thick smoke was seen rising out of Darpur, suggesting a major fire caused by a substantial fuel load carried from the long-haul flight to London. Emergency response units and the fire brigade teams have been deployed to the scene. Boeing tells Benzinga, "We are aware of the initial reports and we're working to gather more information." The videos are out there. I'm not going to play them here. You can go look for them if you want. It does appear that the plane lost power. I'm not a pilot or anything like that, so I can't tell you if the flaps were in the right position or if the landing gear was doing the right. I can't do any of that. So I'm not going to. I'm going to wait for more information to come out here. We definitely want to hear what the black box or what they can recover from the black box and all of that. This incident adds to the recent challenges faced by Boeing in 2024. A Boeing 737-800 operated by South Korea's Jeju Air crashed, killing 179 of 181 passengers. This raised serious questions about Boeing's safety record and led to a 30% stock decline in the same year. In May, the U.S. Department of Justice moved to dismiss a criminal fraud charge against Boeing, linking two fatal 737 MAX plane crashes that claimed 346 lives. This decision followed an agreement between Boeing and the Justice Department. In January of 2013, the entire global fleet for the Boeing 787 Dreamliner was grounded following a series of safety incidents linked to the aircraft's lithium-ion batteries. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration responded by issuing emergency airworthiness directive requiring airlines to prove the safety of the batteries before resuming operations. Aviation authorities in Europe, Japan, and other regions quickly followed suit, grounding all Dreamliners operated by 8 airlines worldwide. Boeing, while standing by the integrity of the 787, worked with regulators and airlines to develop technical solutions, including redesigning battery systems and adding fireproof containment, before the aircraft was cleared to return to service about 3 months later. So again, this particular aircraft has had some problems in the past, but those problems were largely solved, or at least they thought so. So this is, I think, the first, Liz, you're saying it here, first ever, I think, fatal crash for the 787. Really, really, really terrible any way that you slice it here. I don't have a trade planned at all for Boeing here. I got no problem waiting this out. The big takeaway here is really what caused this. There are a couple of aviation experts that they had on CNBC already here this morning, some of which said it looked like the plane lost power. It wasn't as if an engine blew out or anything. There wasn't the door plug problem that we had seen before. And as mentioned, there's going to be more information needed to see what actually caused this to happen, whether it was a Boeing fault. I guess the plane was 11 years old, so it wasn't like a new delivery, but certainly is not considered an old aircraft where wear and tear would be a factor here. So just really, really terrible any way that you slice it. Obviously, Boeing stock is affected here today. It's actually dragging down a lot of the other stocks, especially in the Dow here. GE Aerospace, which I believe was the maker of the engines in these planes. I'm not even sure if they've confirmed that yet. They're also under pressure here. Spirit Aerosystems is under pressure here. So just a really, really terrible thing to wake up to. We'll see where it goes, and I'm sure we're going to expect some more information. But this is the big thing driving the market down here this morning. Again, we'll see what the PPI does, but this is kind of really what's going on. With the Boeing story out of the way, we are going to keep talking about markets here and all of that. I'm sure we'll check back in as we get more information on that. If any of you want to look at a Boeing chart a little bit later or come up with ideas, we can do that. But I'm going to keep moving along here. As far as the SPY goes here, obviously we had the CPI print yesterday that popped us to a high of 606 in the pre-market, and that was the high of the day. We had two attempts to trade higher in the regular session, but we eventually rolled over and closed slightly lower yesterday. This is what the candle looked like. Really nothing crazy, right? Nothing totally out of the ordinary. Now with the market under pressure here today, it certainly looks like this 592 3/4 or that 20-day moving average might be support here for the SPY today. And we also have the trend line right under that. It's about 589. So remember, this 593 to 595 level likely to come into play. 592.75, that's pretty much right at the bottom end of the range. I would expect that to be support. If the PPI number comes out and it is a positive one, I could see us trading back up into the 600 handle. We're currently sitting at 598 right now in the pre-market. I'm not sure if just simply the PPI is going to have enough to take us above 604 or 606, which were the two areas that we stopped yesterday. This is actually kind of bringing in the thought that maybe some of these trade deals or the resolution of these trade deals is priced in already. That would be interesting to see. I think we're going to need some more data to figure that one out. So this is where we're at here with the SPY. Let's go ahead and take a look at some insights here real quick. Just kind of recapping the deal from yesterday. President Trump announced that a new trade agreement with China has been reached, pending final signatures from him and Xi Jinping. Meanwhile, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent indicated that the Trump administration might extend the current 90-day tariff pause past July 9th for the United States' quote, major trading partners, providing these partners demonstrate good faith in their ongoing talks. It's not here in the article. Trump also went on to say that this is likely not going to be necessary, but it does show that he is open to that, especially if the talks are progressing. You know, we just had Tim Melvin on yesterday, and he was talking about how long it takes to actually do some of these trade deals. So a piece of news like this should not be surprising even a little bit. Chewy ended up, and it's just mentioned in here, shares of Chewy fell 11% after the company reported first quarter financial results and issued full year 25 sales guidance below estimates. That was a great trade. I'm all out of that yesterday as that continued to move down. Great little trade there. Chewy has been great to me recently. Knock on wood. I hope that doesn't change here. But nice little overnight trade there through earnings, which normally I don't have a whole lot of success with. Maybe we're turning over a new leaf here. Do want to get to some insights from some of the analysts here. Analysts at BlackRock detailed their insights on the stock market during a mid-year forum. According to the note, their takeaways were look through the near-term noise and be deliberate about the kind of risks you're taking. Leverage AI and watch for biases. I will say that this is largely what we've been trying to convey here. Be tactical, be ready, focus on your risk parameters, but ultimately be able to see through the noise. Don't let the talking heads, especially on television, shake you from your thesis or from your position. So nice to see that being reiterated here. BlackRock reiterated focusing on the big picture. For all the ups and downs in the market since the start of the year, they agree that the drivers of the best performing companies' equity gains have not changed much. Quote, our portfolio managers discussed several other techniques for spotting opportunities. They are leveraging AI to discern the signal from the noise, as well as tracking patterns and sentiment shifts in their own discussions. They've also discussed the importance of being aware of and managing behavioral biases, recognizing that people are less likely to take risk when uncertainty is higher. Meanwhile, after the better than expected May inflation report, Ed Yardeni says, quote, Trump's tariffs might not be as inflationary as feared. Who else told you that? I'll wait. In other words, the widely anticipated stagflation scenario remains a no-show. Thank you, Ed. However, the chief economist at LPL Financial, Jeffrey Roach, said, surprisingly, new and used vehicle prices declined in May, despite many expecting the prices to increase because of the tariffs. According to him, prices for apparel and autos, both highly sensitive to trade conditions, declined in May. Apparel prices also declined in April, indicating that these companies likely absorbed tariff costs. However, don't expect that to continue, end quote. So this is, again, when we were discussing the CPI print yesterday, I told you that this print might be the last one where there's some stuff in here that might not encompass everything, and we really need to be paying attention to the next prints. It looks like that's what's being said here from Jeffrey as well. So nice to see some of that here. Okay, let's see how much time do we have? 15 minutes, no problem. Let's keep rolling. Really quickly, let me pull up. Oh, you know what? We should actually just go to the chart. Let's just go to the chart first. Next story here is going to be about Oracle, but let's actually start with the chart itself. Here's what your Oracle chart looks like. And, I guess I'm just lucky as far as the Chewy trade goes, because one of the catalysts for that trade was, it traded up into earnings, and stocks that have traded up into earnings really haven't done all that well. Well, Oracle was exactly one of those as well. This traded up into earnings, and this had no problem. This is actually up 8.34% here. Oracle shares are trading higher if the company reported better than expected Q4 financial results and issued an upbeat outlook and commentary. So this earnings came in the after hours yesterday. I might have said that this happened this morning in the rundown. I'm sorry about that. This happened in the after hours yesterday, and then we got a bunch of price target re-ratings here today. So let's actually dive into here's what the chart looks like. You can see we're actually breaking out of this area that we went to, and we're right up near a resistance area. The actual top up here, let me see if I can get you this exact value from this candle. The actual top up here is going to be 198.31. That level, if we continue to trade higher, might be in play here today. Now let's take a look at these Oracle earnings. They reported fourth quarter revenue of $15.9 billion, beating the analyst estimates of $15.58 billion. The company reported fourth quarter adjusted earnings of $1.70 per share, beating the analyst estimates of $1.64 per share. The total revenue was up 11% on a year-over-year basis. Breakdown of the segments: cloud was up 27%, cloud infrastructure up 52%, cloud application up 12%, Fusion Cloud up 22%, and NetSuite Cloud up 18%. So the cloud services there just absolutely killing it for Oracle. Oracle noted that its multi-cloud database revenue from Amazon, Google, and Azure grew 115% quarter over quarter. Remaining performance obligations totaled $138 billion at the end of the quarter, which is up 41% year over year. Oracle ended the period with approximately $10.79 billion in cash and cash equivalents. Full year 25 was a very good year, but we believe full year 26, I think he's meaning fiscal year here, will be even better as our revenue growth rates will be dramatically higher. That comes from Safra Cruz, the CEO of Oracle. Quote, we expect our total cloud growth rate, applications plus infrastructure, will increase 24% in fiscal year 25 to over 40% in fiscal year 26. Cloud infrastructure growth rate is expected to increase from 50% in fiscal year 25 to over 70% in fiscal year 26. And RPO is likely to grow more than 100%. Oracle said it expects to continue to see triple-digit multi-cloud revenue growth in fiscal 2026. The company currently has 23 multi-cloud data centers in operation, and 47 more are expected to be built over the next 12 months. Oracle also has 29 Cloud@Customer dedicated data centers live, with about another 30 expected to be built in fiscal 2026. This is absolutely crushing it here. Oracle's cloud infrastructure consumption grew 62%. Larry Ellison, quote, we expect OCI consumption revenue to grow faster fiscal year 26. OCI revenue growth rates are skyrocketing, and so is demand. They also declared a dividend there. So Oracle having a really nice earnings print here today, still holding higher here, 8.3%. You can see we actually are at the top end of where this initially popped to. Would imagine Oracle would be a fairly decent candidate here for a gap and go if this continues to go on. Day trader here. Love this thing behind the thing thinking. Right here. That was 57 data centers in the next 2 years. Long electrical material stocks. Let me know if they let me know if you have any targets that you're actually looking for, or that you're actually even trading. Would love that. Would love to know that. So that's what's kind of going on with Oracle here. Let's talk a little bit. You know what? Let's actually go from Oracle right to Joby. We'll kind of tie off the opener that I had here today. We talked about Joby yesterday. We talked about this popping yesterday. Looks like today they actually downgraded to neutral from overweight at Cantor. This actually, I think, happened yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. Or during the session. Anyway, here's what the Joby chart looks like. You can see this recent move higher took us right to the resistance area that we were at before. This was the move intraday yesterday. I believe this is when Kramer was talking bullish about it. Spent the rest of the day selling off, and then it's down here again in the pre-market. The one thing I do want to we give Jim a hard time here. The one thing I do want to mention, although we did kind of sell off here, we're pretty much right back to where we were on Tuesday. So let's see how it performs here today. The only problem here is, look at the move that this thing made in a couple of days. And then that's where you end up talking about it and recommending it. I don't know. Anyway, here's what the Joby chart looks like. I'm expecting some possible movement in some of these stocks here today. There is some news accompanying this. Trump launches aviation overhaul, Archer, Joby, New Horizon, AeroVironment rally as the U.S. targets drone, eVTOL, and supersonic comeback. So we talked about this a little bit. This might be an ongoing theme for us to trade here. This was yesterday. On Wednesday, President Trump signed 3 executive orders aimed at revitalizing the country's stalled aerospace ambitions, targeting the domestic production of drones, supersonic jets, and even electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, the eVTOLs that we talk about. The orders announced by the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy are designed to slash regulatory red tape, bolster U.S. supply chains, and accelerate real-world deployment of next-generation aviation. Quote, decades of regulatory gridlock have grounded advancements in drones, flying cars, and supersonic flight in the U.S. That comes from Director Michael Kratsios. I knew I was going to butcher his name. While adding that President Trump's actions will unleash a new era of American aviation dominance, fostering innovation, driving economic growth, and protecting our national security. Among the key provisions from the order include routine beyond line of sight drone operations, that is allowing drones to fly beyond the visual range of the operators, followed by a pilot program for eVTOL aircraft and EMS cargo defense logistics, alongside the repealing of longstanding rules that block supersonic flight testing. The White House believes that this regulatory overhaul will, quote, empower our domestic drone economy to assist with critical infrastructure, emergency response, and long-distance cargo and medical delivery. The orders also address the growing security threats posed by criminal and foreign drone activity. According to the fact sheet, the administration will prioritize, quote, real-time detection and identification of drones to safeguard national security. I think we probably could have used that when we had the drone episode in New Jersey last year. This comes just a week after the presidential's executive orders were signed, creating the eVTOL integration pilot program, which establishes clearer regulatory runway for the sector. So we are expecting more movements in a lot of these stocks. I know that Archer is probably the most popular one amongst our group. Joby got some news yesterday, but it looks like all of these might be in play. We might see some more. We might see some more headlines that move some of the smaller stocks as well. So a lot of good stuff here. We'll see how this all shakes out. All right, let's go back to the Benzinga Pro here real quick. We do have a bit of a treat here for you today. I know normally on Thursdays we don't have a guest, but today we were able to line up Steve Schaafstall from Sprott ETF. So we're going to bring him on and see how he's doing here this morning. Let's give a warm welcome to Steve. Steve, good morning. How you doing here today?
Doing great, Ryan. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. Every day that I wake up here is a blessing, and I'm here now talking with you. So first of all, thanks again for being here. Thanks for taking some time out of your morning. Can you tell everyone what you do and where you work?
Yeah, so I'm the director of ETF product management at Sprott Asset Management. We're a Canadian fund provider with several offices here in the United States. Our focus is primarily on precious metals and the metals and mining space. We've, over the last 4 or 5 years or so, really expanded past precious metals and now have gotten really deep into the critical materials, thinking things like uranium, copper, battery metals, lithium, nickel, cobalt, those types of metals. Of our exchange traded products, we have about $35 billion in assets. That's both on physically backed metals as well as ETFs listed in the United States that focus on miners of different critical materials and precious metals.
Okay, awesome. So this is great because we actually bring on, we trade ETFs a lot here. We trade them short term, we trade them medium term, we trade them long term here. So great for you to be able to join us here. Can you tell us about any specific ETFs that you're following and why those might be important?
Yeah, one that's gotten a lot of attention recently, and we launched back in January, is the Sprott Silver Miners and Physical Silver ETF, ticker SLVR. This is an ETF that really was kind of the first of its kind from our standpoint. There are other silver miners ETF strategies out there, but what our focus is, we really try to hone in on pure play strategies. And what we mean by that is we're looking for companies that are, if we say you're a silver miner, that's where the bulk of your business is coming from. So from that standpoint, we've really seen people and investors gravitate toward SLVR. Since launching in January, we're nearing in on $100 million in assets. We've seen a pretty nice move in silver here over the last week or so that's grabbing a lot of attention. And, just going back to the pure play reason and why we focus on that, when you look at a market like silver, it's really important to understand exactly how that market works. It might be different than what you're accustomed to with something like gold or copper or uranium. Silver miners generally, or silver is generally mined as a byproduct of other metals. About 72% of silver comes as a byproduct of mining things like copper and nickel, zinc and lead. So what that really means is if you don't have that pure play exposure, investors could be left with a lot of unintended exposures in their portfolio. And, in this case, if you're looking to invest in silver and silver miners, you might end up with a lot of copper exposure, a lot of zinc exposure, which can react very different from a fundamental perspective.
Okay, awesome. So these definitely seem like more pure plays. I noticed here this is not a leveraged ETF. So are these more suitable for long-term holds, short-term, medium-term? How do you break that down for your products?
Yeah, so anytime we look to bring a new product to market, there's a couple of things that we look at. So one is identifying long-term themes. And when we identify a long-term theme, and silver in our mind fits that bill,
absolutely.
We then take our, take a view of the market and look and see if that's a place that we can bring our expertise to. So we have over 4 decades of experience in the metals and mining space. Silver obviously fits that bill. And then we take a look at the entire market and see if there's a gap in the market where we think that we can improve on investor outcomes. That's the case with SLVR. That's why we decided to launch. When you look at the exposure breakdown between SLVR's strategy versus other silver mining ETF strategies, SLVR strategy provides about twice the exposure to silver, about 70% actually, compared to other silver mining ETF strategies. Another part of silver that is unique and really goes toward that long-term hold is that it does have about a 17 to 18% allocation to physical silver. That's something that's different that we don't see in other strategies. And, in our view, silver and gold can make up a valuable long-term holding in portfolios.
Now, so I know gold gets a lot of the talk out there. It's, as far as the metals go, at least in my experience, it seems to be the most popular out there on FinTwit. They talk about it all the time on television as well. Do silver's industrial and technical uses really kind of separate it from gold and make it maybe more of an attractive investment long term?
Yeah, there's definitely some differences that we see there. So both gold and silver provide the ability for portfolio protection, and they do that through diversification and low to moderate correlation to other asset classes like the S&P 500 or bonds or the U.S. dollar. Where silver really starts to get a little bit different from gold. If we were having this conversation 20 years ago, we would say yes, silver's a precious metal. It really dual role now as both a precious metal, so you get some of those gold and silver like attributes that you would expect from a precious metal, but nearly 60% of silver now is actually used for industrial purposes. It's got over 10,000 uses, from clean energy to nuclear control rods to medical purposes. It is the most conductible metal on Earth, so we see a lot of applications as it relates to artificial intelligence and the semiconductor chips that are being produced. But what you really start to see with silver is that, and if you look at how it relates to gold, there's one relationship that investors typically follow when looking at the two investments. That would be the gold to silver ratio. So essentially, how many ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold. If you go back over the last 40 or 50 years or so, that average has run about 67. So 67 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold. Where we sit now, it's about 93 as of this morning. We've seen it go up to 100 recently before silver made its move here. So there is some shorter term relative opportunity that investors are taking advantage of in our view. But from a long-term investment strategy, we think given the growth that we see in not only clean energy, but also increasing energy demand, silver has a role to play in longer term allocations.
Yeah, I would completely agree with you. It's wonderful if people are able to do this in the short term right now. But basically what you just said there, it seems to me that the demand here for silver is going to do nothing but grow, whether it is clean energy, AI or the data center angle for artificial intelligence or anything like that. So it seems like this is just kind of the infancy of maybe a really big uptick in silver usage here. Let me ask you, are there any tax benefits at all for using these products versus any other silver related products?
Yeah, so as it relates to the ETF, it's going to be taxed like any other ETF. And I guess before we delve too closely into taxes, we've just advised investors to consult with a tax advisor.
Absolutely.
But we do have the physical component within the ETF. That physical component that we hold may qualify as a PFIC, so a foreign passive investment corporation. From that physical silver allocation, investors may see, depending on their jurisdiction, some improved tax outcomes relative to other just physically backed ETFs listed in the United States. So that's one important consideration as well.
Okay. Really good stuff there. I do want to ask you about some of the other metals. I know you focus predominantly here on silver, but you did mention some of the other precious metals. I'm going to start off with a question here from the chat. Please don't be offended. Do you hold any Bitcoin or digital gold as they view it? ETFs.
No, our firm doesn't offer any Bitcoin ETFs. Strictly metals and mining ETFs are what's in our lineup. We have 4 precious metals ETFs. The rest are dedicated to critical materials.
Okay, so the digital gold, not yet making the rounds there. You did kind of briefly mention platinum and uranium when you had talked earlier. What are you seeing with there? Do you have other products that investors can hold for the long term for that? We were just talking about some of those energy needs. There's been a lot of news recently about nuclear energy and the proliferation of that. We've traded a bunch of stocks here that are directly tied to that. But are there any other ETFs that investors might want to look towards?
Yeah, so in the United States, for U.S. investors, we have 2 ETFs that are listed dedicated to providing uranium miners exposure. So one would be the Sprott Uranium Miners ETF, ticker URNM. That's going to be predominantly invested in those, again, keeping with that pure play notion, pure play mining companies. So these are companies that are upstream in the value chain. It's our belief that over the longer term, that those mining companies, since they are the ones benefiting from higher uranium prices and expected higher prices in the future, will benefit more than downstream companies that are consuming that price. If you start thinking of architecture, construction type firms in the nuclear industry, you tend to see cost and overruns and delays. With the miners, we don't necessarily see that to the same degree. URNM also does have a physical uranium component to it. So it has about a 17 to 18% allocation to physical uranium. That's primarily coming through a couple different vehicles, including one of our closed-end trusts, which is physically backed by uranium. The other ETF that we provide that is just focused solely on uranium would be the Sprott Junior Uranium Miners ETF. This is different in URNM in that it's not going to hold the two largest producers of uranium. So that would be Kazat and Prom and Cameco. It also doesn't have the physical component. And what we find for investors that are really looking for a little bit more leverage to the underlying price of uranium or want to invest in those development and exploration type companies, they tend to favor URNJ. We also do have the Sprott Critical Materials ETF, ticker SETM. That holds a basket of up to 9 different critical materials miners. Included in that is about a 25% allocation to uranium miners as well.
Okay. All right. Really awesome stuff there. Is there anything else that maybe I didn't ask you that you want to talk about either the silver products or any of the Sprott products that you have?
Yeah, if we'll just take a moment and focus on copper and silver, there's two notions just quickly, to illustrate why pure play matters. On silver, I mentioned how the majority of silver is mined as a byproduct, but if you were to go through and if you were just to have a strategy that was weighted just based on who's producing the most silver, what you would find is out of the 10 largest silver producing companies, none of them are principally silver miners. So they're mining other things. They just happen to mine a lot of silver along with that. So there's a lot of unintended exposure. We also have a few copper miners ETFs, COPP, which is a Sprott copper mining ETF. And then we also have COPJ, the Junior Copper Miners ETF. Both of those have pure play strategies as well. And kind of how that pure play plays out in copper, if you look at the 10 largest copper producers, only 4 are majority copper or publicly listed. So again, that pure play really, in our view, adds a lot to the underlying investment strategy, provides less unintended exposure, and we think more of the exposure to longer term investment trends that we're seeing.
Yeah, I would completely agree with you. We just actually were talking about another ETF that holds SpaceX and how people really wanted that because it holds SpaceX, but it's like it holds a bunch of other stuff. And what are some of the unintended consequences of owning that and the other levers that actually might move that? This being all of these being pure plays seem a lot better, a lot easier to actually hold for the long term. Okay, Steve, one other question here. Do you get an idea of where there are inflows into some of these ETFs? Like, is one maybe more popular than the other? And then conversely, do you see outflows out of any particular ETF or anything like that?
Yeah. So, with the recent rise that we've seen in silver prices, we've seen a lot of inflows, whether it's in physically backed silver funds or silver miners like SLVR. In recent weeks, we've seen, across the year, and most of this has come, I'd say, in the last month or so, we've seen about $500 million come into silver mining ETFs. SLVR, as I said, is approaching 100 million, being less than 5 months since launch. And on the physical space, we see about $1 billion that have come in. Again, a lot of that's come so far this month in June, about 700 million or so of that. What we're seeing on the gold space is, and we didn't talk about this, but we have 3 gold mining ETFs. Our most recent launch, which I'll just touch on for 1 second, is the Sprott Active Gold and Silver Miners ETF, ticker GBUG, or GBUG as we refer to it. Our investment team actually has over a century of experience investing in precious metals mining that manages this fund. It's the first and only active ETF that's focused on gold miners. That's a fund we launched in February of this year. And we've actually seen a lot of inflows come into that fund. That fund's closed in on the $45 to $50 million mark already. And those have been pretty consistent inflows in a time when we've seen, from the broader gold mining space, we've seen a lot of outflows, billions of dollars come out, actually about $2.5 billion year to date. SGDM, our passive strategy, has seen inflows as well as GBUG.
Okay. Any other gold ETFs that you want to cover here at all? By the way, just so your team is aware, I also mentioned the tickers the way they look. So GBUG, if I had seen this like pop up on a scanner, for example, that's exactly what I would have said. I would have said ticker GBUG is moving here. So I totally get that. I'm appreciative of that. Any other gold ETFs that you want to cover here?
Yeah, we do have a factors-based junior gold miners ETF, SGDJ. So very similar in ticker to the all cap with ending in J here. That's another fund where we've seen kind of the
SDG. What was the salary?
SGDJ.
SGD. I mixed up the letters.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it happens. So the junior gold miners are a place where we've seen kind of the flows lag, kind of the all cap or large cap mining place. But SGDJ has actually done quite well. It's been managing to have inflows trickle in throughout the year. And one more point on SGDM, which is our all cap passive strategy. That's one where gold's really moved a lot this year. We see the performance on that fund is actually ranking in the top 5 or 10 of ETFs year to date, having returned somewhere around 45% year to date. So we've seen a little bit of a shift in what we've seen investor behavior, I'd say over the last decade or so, where we've seen investors kind of shy away from gold mining ETFs and gold mining stocks in general. We're starting to see them come back in and seeing those leveraged returns that you expect to see from mining equities. And I think that's one important point, not just for gold, but for silver and uranium and other commodities as well. Typically, what you would expect is, as the commodity is rising, you would expect a degree of leverage to come from owning the equities. And we're seeing that play out in gold. We're seeing that play out in silver miners ETFs. We saw that play out during periods last year with the uranium miners ETFs. So that's another thing for investors to keep in mind when they're looking for that exposure, that the equities do give an inherent leverage just because of the equity risk that is involved in investing in the miners.
Okay. Steve, I can't thank you enough for the time here this morning. This is awesome. I know a lot of our folks here, especially you, Lion. I know you're a long-term investor in a lot of these metals. It's great to have you on here. Great to talk about what these products actually do, what differentiate them from their competition. Seems like if you want a pure play, these are the products you should go for. Seems pretty cut and dry here. So appreciate that. Appreciate the insight on the inflows. Look forward to having you back.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks a lot, Ryan.
Okay, you're welcome, Steve. Have a great day. That is Steve Schaafstal from Sprott. Folks, if I know we talk a lot about some of these individual names, this and that, I really do think that the ETF route is a way that you can really expose yourself to some of these different sectors without having individual stock exposure. Pure plays, like Steve just talked about here, the way to go for long-term investments. So really awesome. We'll keep bringing Steve back and talking about some of these inflows that we see into these ETFs. Really good stuff there, Lion. Appreciate that. Alish, thank you very much. Appreciate that. And we definitely thank Steve and the Sprott team for their time here this morning. Okay, speaking of time, we got about 20 minutes till 9 o'clock here, 19 minutes till 9 o'clock. We're expecting 13 here real soon. I do want to talk really quickly about a couple of other pieces of news, not nearly as important as some of the ones that we took a look at earlier here today, but I do want to cover a couple of these really fast. First one here has to do with Microsoft, which is a tech stock that we trade here quite a bit. I know 13, I believe, still has a long-term position here. What's going on here? Microsoft to roll out AI Copilot for the Pentagon by the summer of 2025, tailoring productivity tool for high security government use. Now, this is interesting because one of the things that we've seen with a lot of these AI tools is how they're not being allowed in Fortune 500 companies, bigger companies, or even the government. And you know what else? Sorry, producer, I appreciate you doing this earlier. We did have the PPI came out while I was talking to Steve there. I did put it up on screen. Sorry, I didn't go back to it. Here is the actual print itself. US PPI year over year for May, 2.6 versus the 2.6 estimate. That is right in line there. PPI month over month for May, 1/10 versus the 2/10 estimate. Another positive data point there. U.S. jobless claims here, initial jobless claims, 248 versus the 242,000 estimate. And also core PPI year over year for May, plus 3% versus the plus 3.1% estimate. So good numbers there across the board. S&P futures here ticking up off the lows, still down 0.3, but off the lows, and we definitely have a green candle here going into the open. So, all right, good stuff there with the PPI that we kind of expected. That CPI seems to be the more important indicator. Nice to get some confirmation here today. We'll see how that actually impacts the market. Now, getting back to this Microsoft story, as mentioned here, a lot of these AI tools not able to be used. Looks like Microsoft is trying to head that off at the pass here. In a meeting earlier, the company's chief commercial officer, Judson Alderson, Althoff said that a major customer with over 1 million Microsoft 365 licenses is set to adopt Copilot. Business Insider reported this on Wednesday, citing sources. The Pentagon is a likely candidate given its large workforce, including 2.1 military members and 770,000 civilian employees. In a March blog post written for government customers, Microsoft revealed plans to introduce a version of its Copilot AI tool tailored for the Pentagon and other high security government clients by the summer of 2025. The Pentagon did not immediately respond to Benzinga's request, but we'll let you know if we get an update there. The tool, as part of Microsoft 365, is designed to automate tasks and enhance productivity across platforms like Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. If any of you have used any of those apps, you know anything that can help save you time and make a better document or presentation is going to be paramount. Quote, work is ongoing to ensure the offsetting meets necessary security and compliance standards. And this is the big thing here, because I think there's a lesson to be learned that can be applied to other companies and other AI tools going forward. So I'm kind of interested to see how this shakes out, and despite not having a immediate position in this. Microsoft stated highlighting the significant effort involved in adapting the tool for Department of Defense environments. Again, if they can do this, they can likely do it elsewhere. And that's going to be one of the big takeaways here. I think that was it in terms of the news. It was. Okay, last one here, and then hopefully 13 will be out of bed and ready to go. Otherwise, we'll just go ahead and take a look at some of those charts there. Last story here is going to be around quantum and Bitcoin. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to ask my producers and other folks if we can actually get Michael Saylor on here. That would be fantastic. Leading Bitcoin advocate Michael Saylor is not too worried about quantum computing's potential threats to network security. I know this has been a big talk here. If you listen to Joe Rogan at all, when he talks about quantum and Bitcoin, he seems to think that when quantum computing gets big, Bitcoin is a thing of the past. And I know that there are some Bitcoin bears out there. Maybe they think the same thing. I'd be curious to get the opinion. Michael Saylor here throwing a lot of cold water on that, calling it hogwash, effectively. During an interview with Bloomberg that aired Tuesday, the strategy co-founder was asked about the possibility of quantum computing breaking Bitcoin's cryptography. Quote, I don't worry about it, end quote. Microsoft and Google market their quantum projects, but they would never sell a quantum computer that cracked cryptography because it would destroy their own companies. Saylor said that while powerful computers may pose a threat to the modern cryptography in the next 10 to 20 years or so, companies like Microsoft, Google, and JP Morgan would be even more vulnerable than Bitcoin itself. Quote, when it is a threat, all of these organizations will upgrade their cryptography protocols to be quantum resistant, end quote. This is his prediction. You will see it coming a mile away, and every other digital entity in the world is more vulnerable to that idea or threat than Bitcoin. So again, here, basically saying that even if I'm not sure there's going to be a problem, but if there's a problem, it's likely going to affect a bunch of other things long before it affects Bitcoin. I wonder how many of you agree with that personally. Saylor's optimism comes despite growing concerns about the vulnerability of Bitcoin to quantum computing. A study by Google last month suggested that quantum computers could crack RSA encryption similar to the elliptic curve cryptography algorithm. Elliptic. Did I just say epileptic? I'm sorry, folks. I'm trying. Elliptic curve cryptography algorithm used in securing Bitcoin 20 times faster than expected. So basically, it can crack that RSA encryption much faster than anything we know about today. Concerns over Bitcoin's cryptography have been mounting since the release of Google's next generation quantum chip Willow. Now, I don't know if any of you went and watched that Martin Shkreli video. He goes out, I don't know how true this is. He goes out in that video to say that Google's not even thrilled with Willow. They don't even think this is going to be huge. Anyway, we'll see how that all plays out. I'm not going to take a side on either one of those things. Plus, the trade off Google after that Willow chip, that was crispy. So don't bite the hand that feeds you, they say. The chip can solve standard benchmark computation in under 5 minutes, a task that would take the world's fastest supercomputer 10 septillions or 10 to the 25 years to solve. This, I don't even know if that's a real number. I don't. My brain can't even comprehend how large that is. While some experts ruled out immediate dangers, others advocated for proactive measures to prepare for such a threat, such as switching to quantum-resistant algorithms. A study led by the University of Kent's School of Computing estimated that a protocol update to protect Bitcoin from quantum computing threats would require taking cryptocurrency offline for about 76 days. Provided 100% of the bandwidth is committed to the process. I can tell you right now that if Bitcoin trading in any capacity goes offline for 76 days, there is going to be an absolute disaster out there. Absolute disaster. So hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully they can figure out a different way there. Interestingly, quantum computing stocks such as Quantum Computing, or QUBT, and Rigetti, RGTI, have been on a tear lately. QUBT closed 25% higher at $18.97 on Wednesday. I actually think both of these stocks were up here this morning. We can actually go back to the charts and confirm that. In addition, we can go ahead and bring on 13 here. Let's see how he's doing. 13, good morning. Happy Thursday, my man. How are you today?
Well, I'm doing pretty well this morning. How's everybody else? You have a good morning? You have a good night?
Yeah, I think at this point...
You have a good day yesterday?
Yes. So I think at this point I can speak for everybody. We're all having a really good day. We just had Steve from Sprott on to talk about long-term ETFs here for precious metals, predominantly silver, which I thought was awesome. The only bad thing, 13, we got some more really terrible news out of Boeing with the plane crash in India. But other than that, we got a good PPI print. We're locked in and ready to go here today.
All right.
So you want to start with movers? Do you want to start with any individual stock? Do you want to start with Boeing? Where do you want to go here today?
Like yesterday, movers list wasn't really that great looking, but it might pick up later. So we can just go over those and then get to the discussion about Boeing.
Okay, so I'm going to bring up the Boeing chart here. Do you want to take this? I already kind of talked about this a little bit. I'd be happy to recap it if you need. But
so we're not going to do movers then?
Oh, sorry. I thought you said Boeing there. We can do the movers.
I did. I said Boeing after the movers.
Okay. Sorry. I'm
More
doing
coffee,
too much.
Ryan.
I'm doing too much at one time. I can't read and try to talk at the same time. It's my own fault. It's my own fault. Okay. Do you want to do any particular movers, or can I just start at the top of the list?
Start at the top.
All right, NECH is at the top. I know some of you were mentioning SOAR. That's going to be next here. New Era Helium shares are trading higher after the company announced that its joint venture with Sharon AI, Texas Critical Data Centers, is in active discussions with Enterprise to anchor its planned AI infrastructure build-out in Texas. Okay, so this is close to home. Hopefully you can help with this. New Era Helium was a penny stock yesterday. We did pop as high as 140 today. We lost the VWAP in the pullback back to $1. The good news there is that we actually held the dollar level so far. Quick look around the horn here. 5.93% of the float shorted. That's on 1 day to cover with an average volume of just under 500,000 shares at 468K. Float here is 11.5 million. We've traded 70 million shares. What do you make of this?
I think because it's not really any signed agreement with this is just active discussions. This is probably getting more excitement than it should. Company does need cash. Didn't have a whole lot of time today to go look and see if they've done any potential offerings or anything like that. Not that I'm aware of, but there might have been. But yeah, to accelerate AI infrastructure in the Permian Basin, hopefully that leads to more efficient ways of extracting oil. I'm not exactly sure what they're planning on using that for, but hopefully we, it solves energy issues in some aspect. But for today, let's just see how this trades. It's already drifted beneath its VWAP. Like I said, no signed agreement here. This is on just active discussions. So this could come just right back in after everybody takes a look at the news and goes, oh. So if we do have a trade here, let's wait and see what we get out of the open, because NACD is already indicating that this could roll over. We're already trading beneath the VWAP. We have some moving averages, the EMAs that we could look at on the way down. For now, if we can't hold 330, looks like it could end up going back down to 260.
Okay, so you're talking about SOAR here.
No, NEHC.
Oh, if it can't, what did you just say? What levels did you just give out?
I gave out if it can't hold 330. Oh, you know what? I have
Good
Sora.
Lord. Good Lord.
I'm the one that's
here,
messed
dude.
up here. Sorry. Okay, so we'll get to Sora in a bit. This one, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to screw you up
I'm
there.
not crazy, guys. I know I'm not crazy.
I have NEHC on one screen and Sora on another. I'm sorry.
It's what happens when you stack a whole bunch of charts together. It happens to every one of us.
So anyway, now that we can cut through all the BS here, this one is actually on trying to recapture this view. We have a trend line here that you can, I'm sure you're going to be able to see. This one actually looks like we could break through this if it can. I'd be looking at 125 as a potential resistance area. If it gets through that, 143 would be the pre-market high. But still the same thing. NEHC, no signed agreement, active discussions. Yeah. After we get some kind of movement here, I'm not expecting this to do anything that special today. I think we need some better news than what it provided.
Okay. Really good stuff there. NEHC. Now we'll move to SOAR officially.
There we go.
I will say, if you just at a quick glance, they have kind of similar chart patterns.
They do.
That's part of it. Okay, SOAR, ticker SOAR. This is Volato Group. Volato Group shares are trading higher after the company announced it signed a non-binding term sheet to acquire M2I Global. So this stock here was about $2 yesterday. We popped above $4 here today. We did pull back and lose the VWAP, but we haven't broken down yet. And I do think that there might be a little bit of support in here around that 330 level. We'll see, though. It's a little bit shaky there. Quick look around the horn here on this one. 3.11% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. And that comes on an average volume of 527,000 shares. Today, we've already traded 22.7 million prior to the open. What do you think here on SOAR?
Yeah, so this is the one where I think if we can't hold 330, that we're going to end up falling down. But this one, acquiring M2I Global, so they're going to be doing two different things, and they're going to be in the critical mineral sector and aviation. So that's an interesting diversification. But whenever a company is being acquired, I think it's I'm not sure if it's an all stock or if it's a mixed. But usually, if there's any cash involved in the acquisition, that means there's cash leaving. That somebody's going to take that money and say thank you and go to the bank. I think that maybe this trade's better later on, but right now, today, I'm not so sure. But so that's the levels I'd be keeping an eye on for potential rebound. We're making our way down here to 330 right now. So if this doesn't hold here, I think it's going to be this the 65 EMA that could end up catching it. Maybe there's a potential for 290, but.
Okay, and
literally, okay, go ahead.
Literally, as we're speaking here, we lost that 330 here. That was actually a level, by the way. This thing immediately sold down to that 324 level. That I have here is as the 15 EMA. I've got it at 327. So we'll see if that EMA holds here. But okay, good stuff there. Jane, enjoy the beach. Enjoy the beach. It doesn't sound bad at all today. Actually, yesterday it was extremely hot here in Chicago. Beach would have been good. Okay, next here on the list is going to be RSLS, Reshape Life Sciences. Nobody should be surprised by this one. This is one that we have traded a whole bunch off of both the movers list and the relative volume scanner intraday. Reshape Life Sciences are trading higher after the company announced it signed an exclusive U.S. distribution agreement with Recon Supply to distribution Reshape's portfolio across VA and the Department of Defense healthcare systems. This stock popped almost as high as 360, 350 plus. Looks like the volume's flipping over to the sell side a little bit. Nice move here, still holding up about 35% higher this morning. 4.6% of the float shorted on this name with 1 day to cover, and that comes on an average volume of 1.6 million shares. Today we've traded 10.5. The float here, very small. I've got a float reading here of under 1 million shares at 738,000. 13, what do you make of this? RSLS.
So you said that float is under 1 million?
I have it here at 738,000.
Okay, because they just did an offering that should have increased the share structure. They just did it because that was earlier. That was this week that they did the offering.
Yeah, and that's probably why here. So let's see what we get. Do you have a different reading here?
For me, yes, 2.37 million.
Okay, that's interesting here because when I pull up RSLS on Float Checker, I've got 20.8, 20.8, 12.9, and 23.4. So this just goes to show you that everyone's got a different float figure for RSLS here. Nonetheless, what do you make of this in terms of its trading action today?
Well, let's see here. I didn't. I wrote this one down because I knew it was going to be a mover. This thing, tends to get some pretty good action lately, but it only has like these single day pops and then it fizzles out thereafter. So let's see. We're not really coming up to too high of an area from before. This thing has absolutely gone way down, but we're filling a gap essentially here. So if we are going to fill this gap, we're going to see probably 420, maybe 415 to 420 it fills up at. Do you are you getting that from the daily chart? That's what I'm seeing here. Is that we just had a huge gap down ever since that offering.
So Yep. I've got, so this candle, I actually have the low of this candle at 411, the close of the body at 418. I'll tell you what, that 420 area sounds spot on, 13.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking here is if we can, continue to get volume, we'll push up into that. But just looking at this this chart, I don't want to say expect great things from it because I think I'd be completely misleading you. But we'll see if we end up recovering some of these levels and fill in that gap. And that gap has about $1 to go from here, from its current price action right now to fill.
Okay, good stuff there. That's RSLS. Looks like we have movers shifting around here. So is something happening as we speak?
So CGTL, this one was also on my list, but this appears to be some kind of China pump.
Yeah.
No news recently.
Okay, and this so it's RSLS that's kind of shifting around here. Okay, so China pump, CGTL, China pump, we think here. This did go as high as 2. We've already bled back 70 cents of that move here. 5% of the float shorted on this name with 1 day to cover. Average volume here, 470,000. This is one of those where if you decide to trade this and the volume dries up, you might be trapped. So be extremely careful or just simply avoid it. Float here is 1.4 million. We've traded nearly 40 million shares prior to the open. Looks like this thing's active here. But okay, China pump. Nothing else on this one, right?
I didn't have anything I could get from their income statements.
I'm with you. Yeah.
So we'll just see if there's any setups here. But more times than not, when it comes to these, just avoid them. Also, yes, producer, thank you. Whoever called out TRNR yesterday, that was going to have a terrible day after the open. Great call. And Jonathan Cooper regarding. I think it was RSLS. The offering shares need to be above 250B in the money. I think that's what you're referring to, right?
Okay. Who was this that mentioned it? Was this a tuna mention?
I could see it posted, and I just don't remember who the name was. But
yeah,
who you are.
I have that same trouble too. We have so much awesome interaction from our chat community that sometimes I mix up who said what. That's a me problem, by the way. So, okay, good stuff there on TRNR yesterday. We'll see how this goes here today. The next one I wanted to talk about, also a stock that we talked about yesterday, by the way, KLTO, Clotho Neurosciences here. Remember, we reported yesterday that amends in April 2022 public warrants to replace the exercise from $3.49 to $1.35. Anyway, this was. Yesterday was not the big mover day. It was the day before, but looks like it's peaking up here a little bit. We actually took out the pre-market highs here today. Quick reminder of some of the structure here on this. 2.29% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover, and that comes on an average volume of 34 million shares. Today, we've traded 18 million shares. It's got a float of 22.5 million shares. So what do you think here today? Here we go. Jay, that's right. It was Jay. TRNR was me. Jay, we appreciate you for trying to keep people safe, for not messing with some of these movers. 13, you got anything else here on KLTO?
I didn't cover this one. I'm looking at the 5-minute chart and thinking, hey, we could just draw a trend line from about 4:20 in the morning to the pre-market high at 218. And if we hold above VWAP, that's the trend line that I'd be eyeing for
Love it.
move up to. So we'll see if we end up getting that. Also, one more great call out we had yesterday, but we didn't get to realize because it happened later in the day was SBET. that was Crow saying it was going to go to 50. And our high print yesterday, I think we got like a 49.50 something. Let me just double check here. 49.52.
Yep.
Great call.
And that came all the way back in. So some of these movers, you just got to be there on the front side of the move. If you miss it, wait.
Oh, but he gave this to us when it was under 40.
I understand. And that's what I'm saying. Like the early calls. So the early calls are the good ones. And sometimes when the call comes early, it doesn't look like anything's going on. And then something like this happens. Day trader here. We'll give a register ring. Yes, sir. I traded SBET from 37.85 to 47.69. That is nearly 10 full points intraday. That is a great trade. Great job there, day trader. Great job.
All right, ready to tackle Boeing?
Yeah. All right, let's do it. Let me flip over to the main chart tool here. Here is Boeing. All right. So do you want me to just recap this real quick? Did you want to go into it? What do you want to do here with this?
Well, I'm familiar with what's happened. So if you want to recap, go ahead.
Yeah, so I did this earlier, but for anyone that has joined late, there was a plane crash early this morning in India. It was a 787 Dreamliner, and the plane was about 11 years old. So it looks really bad. From the video, it looks like the plane just lost power and ended up crashing there. So 13, we've talked a lot about some of the problems here with Boeing. This was not a door plug issue, which I guess is good. The other thing here is that we haven't got any confirmation. I'm looking here. They got Phil LeBeau on CNBC, who's been following the story since it was breaking. From what I've understood so far, maybe things have changed. We've got nothing from the flight data recorder or the black box. So we're just unsure on all of the details yet. And I think it's important to not jump to conclusions. We're going to find out if it was something that was repair related. We're going to find out if it was pilot error. We're going to find out a number of stuff as we get more information from that. But the confirmed news here, Boeing 787 Dreamliner that was 11 years old. All right, 13, what do you think?
So this was the first Dreamliner crash in its history, is my understanding, that particular model. So this is going to be a first for that. It looks like we are going to end up losing 200, in my opinion. I think that is definitely going to be one of the levels we test this morning. But it looks to me like we are going to head lower unless we get some news that kind of takes the heat off of Boeing. Like you were pointing out, it could be maintenance issue or pilot error, but we just don't know yet because we haven't retrieved all the data. So what are we going to do in the meantime is we're going to just blame Boeing. It's easiest.
Yeah, exactly.
So this could, if it's true that there was something wrong with the aircraft, then this is justified. We're going to continue to go lower, probably under down to 188, maybe 189. That's about where I'd be looking at around the 500-day SMA. But if it's revealed that it wasn't Boeing's issue, then we are looking at another great buying opportunity here. So that's really where I'm at right now, is just wait and see what the data provides. Yeah. Like I said, it was the first time a Dreamliner has crashed. So this is kind of like going to be really looked under the microscope, in my opinion, because we're talking about one of their more recent aircraft to have come out, their newer models. So yeah, I think that's about all I can speak on with Boeing, and just kind of wait and see what we end up getting out of the news.
Yeah, and from what I understand, again, I'm not an aircraft expert. I don't pretend to be, but from what I understand about some of the reporting here is that it is a 11-year-old aircraft, which is really kind of key because it's not brand new, where it's experiencing some of the brand new unknown issues, but it's also not old enough where wear and tear has really affected this aircraft. I mean, a commercial aircraft should easily have a lifespan of far over 11 years. So again, I think you're right, 13. It's going to be important when we kind of wait for data here, wait for information out of that.
And I haven't watched the video, so I'll take a look at that later. But one of the things that stood out was, it crashed shortly after takeoff, right?
Yep.
So
it was only like 700 feet in the air.
So that's one of the most dangerous times in an aircraft, because when you get off the ground, you got to have the right airspeed or you'll stall. This is when the aircraft is going to be at its heaviest, once it's airborne. It just gets lighter from there on. So I know a lot of people are worried about crashing upon landing. I'm always more worried about crashing upon takeoff. If we can get into the air and avoid and get past that threshold, that's where I'm most comfortable. So there could also be an issue of weight. They could have overloaded this plane as well.
Now, that's interesting because I did hear that there were 242 passengers and a capacity of 300. So my immediate thought was that it was not overloaded. Obviously, there's other stuff that goes into that with people for sure. But you would assume that, if you had a full capacity, you'd also have more luggage, and that would be more than just the weight of the people. But nonetheless, again, this is important while we wait for more information. Yep. And here, I'm gonna mention this. I can't confirm this because I don't have the news playing right now since I'm hosting the show. The news is saying that the pilot took off midway down the runway. Based on what you were just saying here, 13, that would kind of account for some of this with the airspeed. Pete saying betting human error on this one. This is, say again, sorry?
Could be.
Yeah, and this, I think, is the big thing that we're trying to figure out, right? Like, if this is human error, you kind of touched on it, maybe this actually represents a buying opportunity for the stock. But if this is something mechanical related, and this is a company that has, multiple issues with this or with systems not working or failing, I mean, good Lord, this is going to get worse. So, okay. Good stuff there on Boeing. Now, I will say, first of all, Jay Rice, good morning. Happy U.S. Open Day. I asked you yesterday what you thought the winning score would be. Maybe you told me. I didn't see it, though, so let me know. But I also really quickly want to thank you, Jay. And I want to mention to the group here that Jay is the gift that keeps on giving. What do I mean by that? Well, first of all, he gave us LEU when it was in like a 50 handle or a 60 handle. LEU has been absolutely smoking. Jay, a really good job talking about this at the beginning of the trade and then giving updates along the trade. So the trade is one part of it, but here's the other part of it. So we had talked recently. Jay had sent me a bunch of golf balls for me to use here, and I opened the box and I grabbed a couple out there. And Jay, you'd be proud to know that I'm not going through them too quickly. But yesterday, I looked back in the box and I saw that one of the golf balls was wrapped in paper, and I was like, I didn't notice this the first time. What's going on? So I open it. And there's a note. Jay wrapped up a golf ball and he wrote a note. And I'm going to read the note to you, 13. All right. Ryan, here's a special Packer golf ball that you can drive into Lake Michigan. And lo and behold, Jay Rice sent me a Green Bay Packers golf ball. So, Jay, thank you very much for doing this. I am absolutely going to take your advice here. And the next course that I get that has a view of the lake, I'm going to tee this bad boy up, and I'm going to go full Bryson on this bad boy. We're going to send that one into the water where it will lay for the rest of its life. And in the next 10,000 years, when the next ice age occurs and the glaciers move down from Canada and encase the top half of in the United States in ice, this will remain there for an eternity. So, Jay, thank you very much for doing that. Appreciate you. What do you think about that, 13?
I think you put way more thought into your balls than I do.
That is how we're going to move on, because that is as good of a mic drop as you're going to get there. Okay, what do we want to do next here?
What does the chat want to do? Because I think I'm ready for the open.
What do you guys want to take a look at? What stocks do you folks want to take a look at here?
Who was it that was asking about consumer discretionary? Because I
don't think anyone was asking. I think it was Pete that said that consumer discretionary as a sector might make possible decent trades there.
Yeah, it's the worst performing sector so far this year, so it's naturally interesting. So we might have some really good plays, and one of the things we've been kind of looking at is restaurants. A while back, I mentioned Dave & Buster's. That has just recently been undergoing a breakout here over its 200-day SMA. Now, I don't know if you're really going to count these among consumer discretionary, but people do make some pretty important decisions these days when they go out for food, and they don't have to.
Now, so here's my question. as far as Dave and Buster's go, and this is specific to Dave and Buster's, do we view this as a food play? Like, to me, this to me is like kind of like an entertainment thing. I know that they serve food there, but like you go to play video games, socialize with groups, maybe have birthday parties and stuff there. I maybe it's a me thing. I don't view this as a restaurant play.
It's a food away from home play. So if we're looking at the CPI and we look at what's happened prior to this recent read that we just got, the last three reports all showed, food away from home inflation, at it's kind of stalled at about 0.4. And this recent report showed us that it started to contract. So first time since January that this started to contract. And I think that may have been what gave a lift to some of these to a lot of restaurant plays yesterday. Dave and Buster's, one of them, cake. I mean, we have a whole list we can go through, but these all look like I think they're actually food plays, but they're food away from home plays. Yeah. So they're not like grocery stores, but they are prepared food plays. They are restaurants. They serve you food, and you can do other stuff while you're there. So I don't know how else to get more.
No, and that's why I asked it, because I'm just trying to think about this. Like I'm trying to put myself in some of the situations that we talk about. If the consumer is tightening, or if the consumer is making trade downs on either merchandise or where they go for food, how does Dave and Buster's fit into that? And the only way that I can really kind of square that off is like, this would be if I was trying to dial back, but still go out for entertainment purposes. Dave and Buster's would be a place that I would cut. Now that might be specific to me. So it's just, I would, if I were viewing it as going out to a restaurant, this wouldn't be on my list. Again, that might be very, very specific to me. One other thing on here, real quick, Jay had mentioned here, the bar was really low for this, and they still missed on the top and the bottom line. Yeah.
But they've been turning around. There's some other in between the lines things to read about how they're restructuring and trying to improve profitability. But I think it's not just play specifically. It's like all different restaurants. Like, would you consider a Starbucks to be a restaurant play? I wouldn't, but it is.
No, but you're right. No, that's a good point. You're right about that. I would not, but you're right. It fits into that.
So that's kind of what we're looking at. We'll talk more about this in happy hour, because we've got a list to go through, and there's some really interesting ones that I'm actually considering getting into. So we can get more into that later. But for now, just wanted to kind of bring up that if we're going to be looking at consumer discretionary, it seems like restaurants have been really hammered down, and they some of these are looking really interesting.
And remember, speaking of restaurant, I think the last one was Red Robin, right? We traded Red Robin here. This had a huge move off the lows. So just kind of comparing this to play real quick. I know maybe it's not a direct comparison, but looking at the chart here, we were moving off lows. We did pop above that 200. We actually ran a substantial amount after that 200. Close to the 500, then stopped. Maybe you get something similar here on play. That put your target at about 36-ish. Additionally, we also have a gap that we're coming up to here. In fact, if I back out here, you'll see that we have a volume point. If I go back to this is about February of last year, we've got a volume point of control right here at about 32, and we have a gap that starts at just about 32. That gap fills up here at 35. So 13, just kind of going with the continuation here. If this continues to trade higher here, you actually have some pretty clear spots on the chart for targets or take profit areas.
Look at cake.
What's that?
Look at cake. That's the other one that when I mentioned play, I also mentioned cake too. This thing just recently made some new 52-week highs, actually almost 4-year highs, it would seem.
This is one of the best comments that I've seen in weeks in our chat here. It comes from our producer. Cy, at least we made it to Thursday this week before we started talking about food. I feel this, dude. I feel this. I was trying to not go for food here, and 13's like, yo, I got a bunch of food plays.
Yeah.
So that's it. All right. We good on
this? We'll look into restaurants more, but just wanted to bring that up because the consumer discretionary being the most hammered down sector makes a lot of different consumer discretionary plays interesting. So kind of started with restaurants that have been hammered down.
Okay, real quickly here, just so you're aware, Pete, now, what a difference a day makes. I'm off discretionary after yesterday. Took my burn, and 55% isn't going to work.
It's still a beat up sector. I still like it.
So there you go. Okay.
Long term, too, yeah.
Also, so Adobe, Lion was asking about Adobe earlier here today. Adobe, of course, reports earnings after hours today. It is Adobe and Restoration Hardware that are your, quote, big reports here today. The Adobe chart, actually interesting for this earnings report. Yes, we've come up off the lows. Those lows were about 70 points ago, but we've really been trading sideways here, holding this gap, since May. And we've really kind of held above the 100-day. So to me, the chart says that the move here is going to be pretty clear. If we trade higher, my target's going to be 453 on this one. And that's a substantial move from where we're at now. We break lower here, I think it's almost a certainty that we test this 385, which is your 50-day moving average on the downside. How do you see Adobe here, 13? Not necessarily a prediction for earnings, although if you have one, I'll take it. But what do you see here on the chart?
I see 420 has been a very prominent side of rejections into this run-up since May. So if we are going to get a good print, that's going to, I would imagine that 420 is going to cause a breakout and gap fill up to at least 432. So I could certainly see that happening on a good earnings report that takes it higher. Not sure about 450, 453, where the 200-day is, 200-day SMA is, though I won't completely say it's not possible. I just feel like that might be a little bit too much. And I don't know how good or bad the earnings are, but I think that that level, that gap fill is something you're more likely going to see. Actually, that gap fill is more up in the 437 area. So I would say gap fill, break over 420, gap fill possible on a good earnings print. Not sure about the 200-day SMA. If it's not good, then I think this is going to fall down to the 50-day SMA at 385.
Okay. Lion here saying Adobe next target for him 450. So that 450 area looks like that is coming back here on Adobe. Going back to November here, I've got a volume point of control there at 440. That actually is at the top end of that gap as well. Okay, what else do you guys want to take a look at? HCTI, sorry, dude, we are not wasting time on a 3-cent stock. I don't mean to be a jerk, but there's no way we are covering a 3-cent piece of junk stock. This is not the right program for that. ASTS, however, this one also different, or this one is worth covering. Really quickly, Joe, you were asking, one of your guys suggested that a short squeeze was coming. There were a number of us that have been talking about this. 13 has been on ASTS for longer than anyone else that I know.
When was that said? Because if it
yesterday.
Was said, yesterday.
Hang on. I got more.
Okay.
I got more. So 13 has been on this more than anyone else that I know. I reported earlier this week that I saw some people that I trust, some traders that I trust, expecting this to really move to 50 by the summer, or by the middle or the end of the summer. And then I believe, and I don't quote me on this because I was doing other work while they were on, but I believe the story trading folks were bullish on this yesterday. And that short squeeze call, Joseph, that you're referencing, that actually might have been from the story trading folks yesterday. Now, that being said, I don't know, if this is necessarily going to squeeze to 50. The move to 50 makes a lot of sense. The next area that we really have to pay attention to is going to be this 39.40 area. We pop above that, I think 50 is on deck.
I was just kind of wondering about when that was, just because it looks like to me since the start of the month that it did that already. Now, if there's more to go, I would think that that comes after we backtest this trend line. So I don't know if you have that there. Okay, so try this. Draw a trend line from August 21st, 2024 through the high of March. Yeah, okay, so we just broke out of that. And now we have an RSI of 78, almost 79. I'd like to see the price come back down and find support on that trend line, which at this stage would be about 33 and a half maybe. So I just want to see this cool off before we launch up and do that short squeeze you're talking about, because I don't know that it could do that all the way to 50 with this RSI, maybe, but I really feel like there's going to be some pullback before we blast off. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do. I like the punny joke there. 22.34% of the float shorted with 4 days to cover. If that days to cover creeps up at all, that really meets the conditions for a potential short squeeze there. Okay. Couple other things here. Aries stock market. Good to see you again. Good morning, by the way. Ryan, thanks to 13, after he flags this one down, I did some of my own DD and I decided to buy this, and now I'm doing really well.
Excellent.
So thank you guys. As I said, 13, you've done an excellent job covering the space theme here for a while, frankly. I feel like you've been doing this for more than just a couple of months. So some of these other folks seem to be chasing you, not the other way around.
I think it was October, November last year whenever I put out that report, it started, the whole sector started moving thereafter.
Yeah.
So I don't know who got a hold of it, but it seems like I was on the same page as some of the other investors that were looking at space and going, wow, we can actually have more accessibility for some other smaller companies. So there's many more millions going into this sector now. You have Rocket Lab, competing with SpaceX. SpaceX is about to do another test flight. There's a whole bunch of interesting things happening in the space sector, and so many other countries are starting to come online to compete. So the whole sector is going to blow up.
Yeah, it absolutely feels like that. We'll see what we're able to do. I do want to cover this comment here too. People make their living knowing Adobe products, and I'm not one of them. You know what's funny about this? I think you're talking about serious professionals that are really good with things like Lightroom and Photoshop, and you'd be right about that. But also, there was a period where if you were a young person and you could open a PDF, you were valuable to the boomer crowd. I can't tell you how many people in a bunch of different jobs that I had back in the day could not even open a PDF. They would see PDF. What do I do? And I was a savior for that. I was able to come in and even electronically sign PDFs. That looked like a magic trick to some of these people. So Honey Badger, I'm with you on that. That is changing, and changing in a hurry, though. PDF's much easier to work with. And I'll tell you something, though, the amount of Lightroom and Photoshop pros that are out there seem to be growing by the day. Okay. What else do we want to cover here?
Got 4 minutes left. I saw Mind Medicine, MNMD.
Okay, MNMD. Jay Rice talking about GameStop as well. MNMD.
Yeah, so
this both of those here. Here's MindMed.
Yeah, it looks like you have $8 as a big resistance area. It seems like even though we can trade above it, there's been no closes above it for some time. Looks like since February, we haven't had closes above it. So big resistance level at 8. Dropped dropped yesterday. Don't know what the reason was. There must have been news, but did get some support from the 20-day SMA. So if you're in this, you'll want to see that hold. But if it doesn't, then it looks like this is coming down to $7 for support next.
Okay. Yeah. This actually, just kind of looking at this, I can't help. I just see trend lines in my sleep now, but I can't help it. Crim Biscuit saying, yes, I learned Bluebeam PDF reader at our steel erector company, and I became a boss. I'm telling you, that's not a joke. And the other thing here, Crow saying, in my opinion, psychedelics news soon. So speaking of that, now there actually is some here. Texas governor to sign bill to create an ibogaine research consortium aiming to develop an FDA-approved psychedelic drug. For any of you that have been following ibogaine in all of its uses and the legality and what people have to do and how many of our veterans have been able to benefit from this, there is something brewing here with the ibogaine stuff. Now, I don't know how to trade this. If I come up with an idea, I will absolutely let you know. This is definitely not going to be the last that you hear about this. So, Crow, to your thought here about a psychedelics news soon, I would say that is almost a certainty.
That article goes on to say that Texas will invest $50 million to support the research. So that, maybe some of that money makes its way towards MNMD. Don't know.
We'll see. Yep, we'll see. Okay, the other one here. Oh, yes, but we did mention the Chime IPO. Let me know if anyone takes that. Like I said, I took VOYG yesterday, so I'm not sure if I'm going to trade Chime here today. I'll tell you what, if this spikes out of the open and I end up selling it, I probably will trade Chime here today, but we'll see how it goes. And I don't know when that's opening, but that is coming here. And then there was something else in here. Maybe not Chime IPO. Converting PDFs was a job title. GME, that was the other thing really quick. I know we're running out of time here, so I'll be very, very brief. Here's a look at GameStop. Stock is down 17% here today. GameStop shares trading lower after the company announced a $1.75 billion proposed private offering of convertible senior notes. We're currently down here at 23.79. That's important because we lost the 200-day moving average. Next spot down here, 21.32.
So GameStop just had their earnings report in which they said they have more than $6 billion in cash. But hey, let's just raise some more money. It's like, okay, so they're just building up all these cash positions to buy Bitcoin. It seems. I don't have anything else beyond that.
Well, maybe they should PR that they're adding Bitcoin or more Bitcoin to their treasury strategy because stock's getting slaughtered here this morning.
Yeah, they didn't add any.
I agree.
That last quarter they reported, but they did start adding more this current quarter that they're in, I believe.
I agree with Jay here. There's no direction here from the management.
No, there isn't.
And to Pete's comment here about why run a business when you can raise money to Bitcoin, I actually think that their management team's just kind of picking at straws here. Okay, we are open. We are open. NECH, this was one of the movers here. We are beneath $1.
Yep, trying to recapture. Also beneath VWAP. CGTL, that's the China pump. That's not doing much right now. SOAR, not doing that yet. Reshaped Life Sciences also down. This looks like it could go lower.
Whoever asked about the 3-cent stock, you're in luck. It's up to 4 cents now.
KLTO, this is trying to turn around here and get back over $2. Looks like there's a little wall of sellers there. So unless we get some volume expansion, that's going to reject this upward movement. But if it breaks through it, then we might hit that the top of the trend line that we were just looking at, or that we drew earlier.
Okay, let me re-add that trend line to this chart because I put that on the movers chart. That's a good one. Here, I'm actually going to go through the wick here. KLTO. Okay, VOYG, the IPO from yesterday. Looks like we're trying to break above here. I'll tell you what, 61.5. Looks to be that level. Our intraday high yesterday was just about 74. My average on this, just so you're aware, my average on this is 57, and I will not let this trade go red on me. I'm hoping for more here, but won't let it go red on me. SOAR, it looked like that was getting ready to take off there. See if we can get above 356. That's where your VWAP is.
So, Joseph, the way I was looking at it was when we were getting all this crazy upward movement. That was just recently. That looked like that had some squeezing in there as well. So there could, like I said earlier, it could squeeze higher, but because of how extended it is, I'm just not expecting it to squeeze as much as it already has. That's what I was getting at. So it could still squeeze up some more, like I briefly mentioned, but I don't know how. I don't think we're going to see the same kind of movement that we did earlier when we ran up into the price we're at now. Just don't think there's enough. It's just overbought and extended. I just don't think that we're gonna. I mean, people might not jump in to short it, but I don't necessarily think that there's gonna be a lot of people buying up there either.
Born to be free. Good to see you, my man. Good morning. Nice to see you here. Hopefully, you're having a good one. PL, someone was asking about Planet Labs earlier. Planet Labs shares are trading higher after the company announced a 7-figure NATO contract for daily monitoring and intelligence capabilities. This also fits into your space theme here, ticker PL Planet Labs. Do you have any thoughts on the piece of news here today?
Well, Planet Labs does a lot of imaging already, and I think that they do a lot on the agricultural and topography side because I think their business is tapped quite a bit for changes in environments, but because they have cameras pointed directly at Earth, it's certainly the kind of company that could be tapped for additional surveillance. So
655, 650, maybe even that area up to 671 here looks pretty important for PL. This actually might break and go higher. Maverick, your call on Chewy was good idea, Ryan. Look, I'm glad that worked out because we actually saw an Oracle that ran into the earnings too, and Oracle's up by 9% here today. So Glad that worked on Chewy. I'm all out of that trade. My next trade on Chewy would be looking for a new long, and I'll keep you posted on when I take that there. Been trading Chewy really well, so I know what it is.
Oh, it looks like I didn't look at the news feeds for ASTS, but apparently there's been some insider selling as of yesterday after hours. Or I'm sorry, 2 days ago.
There's ASTS.
SOAR is not
ripping out of the gate here.
Yeah. So there's some, there's some more squeezing, but like I said, I don't know how much more there's left. It's already very extended.
Pepsi, very interesting last couple of days here. Went from 130 to 132 on Tuesday, and then from that 132 right back to 129, 130 yesterday. Pepsi trading up here a little bit.
News that they are halting Frito-Lay production in Rancho Cucamonga after 50 years. We're getting a bunch of the quantum, not the quantum, but some quantum, but some of those movers that have been up recently, NBIS, Oklo, Rigetti. UMAC is up. FFAI is still short squeezing. All right. Reshape Life Sciences is starting to get some attention here. It just recaptured its VWAP.
That's ticker RSLS. Here we go.
Looks like it's going to try and push for 330 if volume continues to expand.
Lots of tickers in the chat. Bonjour, Smoke Tuna, Fast Eddie, Samel, Rayland, Robert. God, there's Alish. Good morning to everybody that I may have missed earlier. Thanks for being with us here today. And indeed, I know some of you are mentioning this here. Indeed, Ondis is popping here. Good. Like to see it pop a little bit more. We've seen a lot of this past couple of days. Popped in the morning and really kind of sold off later in the day. Would love for this to get back near 2. That would put the offering in the rear view mirror there. RSLS still holding above VWAP. I'll tell you what, to my eye here, 13, it sure looks like this wants to break and move higher.
Yeah, got that small wall there at 315 that it's chewing at right now, and it just took it. There it is, 330.
There it is.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I misspoke. That's 325.
And it did pop above the candle that I was looking at, though.
Yeah, I just was looking at some of these, the top of these wicks in the pre-market. That's where 330 is.
Speaking of the market here, right out of the open, we initially traded above 600. We've since rolled over and lost that here. Market's not breaking down this 598 area, clearly a level to hold, which so far we're doing here. But after that, you can see we've come in a little bit off of that good PPI print.
Yeah. All right. What's going on here with some of these other ones? Are we seeing any recovery here with some of them? Looks like KLTO dropped and still may go lower. Reshape still looking for that 330. SOAR putting in some lower shadows here. Maybe there's an indication of a turnaround happening with SOAR. We'll have to see if that ends up happening. And EHC getting some support from that trend line that I think we drew. It's still on the top side of it, but getting support from that right now. Looks like Rigetti popped up to 1338. Looks like all the quantum names except QUBT. Ionic and Rigetti, they had some upward moves out of the gate here. QUBT, not so much. That thing's really going down. Huge volume on Reshape Life Sciences.
That's RSLS.
It's it's still in the same candle here. We got a couple minutes left in it. Great. So far, best volume candle on the 5-minute chart today. Still could see 330, like it's coming up to it now.
Yep. It's pushing. Here we go on RSLS.
And it's like right there at the doorstep, 329. IPA is coming out with news, says Jonathan Cooper. MDTS is holding up well.
NVTS Chewy on the scanner here. So, all right. So look at that. Maybe the bottom is in here on Chewy. I'm going to give it a day or two. You know what? 13. Look at this trend line that, You had me draw this a while ago. I'm willing to bet this got tested again. Look at that, dude. Look at that. That trend line might have marked the bottom there. This trend line goes back to May of 2024 and goes up through some of the lows, with the exception of the one in March of earlier this year. And that's what we tested on that earnings pullback.
Excellent.
That is excellent.
That is excellent. I love how some of these older drawings end up coming back to provide indication of where it could go to.
It's literally one of my favorite things that happens here. I'm not in this, though, so I'm not enjoying this chewy move higher, unfortunately. Tesla, by the way, this is ripping to the highs here. I do see some Tesla call buying. Tesla back up 327. Is the Cybertruck event, when is that? Is that today?
No. Robotaxi.
Robotaxi. Is there something there today, though? It starts today?
I think they're supposed to reveal it today, but I don't think operations of that start until later this month.
Okay.
Much later, toward the end. All right, so here's Reshape Life Sciences knocking on the door of 330 again. Actually, it did get a quick print above it before it came back in.
22nd for Robotaxi. Thanks, Pete.
Yep.
And Lynn, thank you.
So is there nothing happening today? Because I thought there was going to be a reveal, but operations start on the 22nd. Set me straight, please.
I remember we reported yesterday that the first car was seen down there in Austin. Musk posted on X Tuesday night that Tesla will officially begin its autonomous vehicle ride-hailing service tentatively on June 22nd. Tesla CEO also gave his reasons why the EV giant will not be rolling out the service this week. Quote, "We are being super paranoid about safety, so the data could shift," end quote. The first Tesla that drives itself from the factory end of the line all the way to the consumer's house is June 28th.
Well, not that there's any riots happening out here in Austin, but I would imagine that they saw what happened with Waymo's cars and they're thinking, maybe we should just not deploy that right now when there's volatility across the US.
Maybe dial it back a little bit.
Maybe just hold off on
that. Charles wants to take a look at CoreWeave. That's our first CoreWeave mention here of the day. Actually, I think someone else might have mentioned it, but I didn't go to it.
Lion, I think, mentioned it too.
Who?
Lion Atlas.
Oh, Lion. Sorry, I just couldn't understand you. CoreWeave here, selling off here, actually down by about 0.5%. I'd watch yesterday's intraday lows. I've got that value about 146 on CoreWeave. And we're actually currently right at the high from last Friday. 13, I really do think that, I know there's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of action going on here. It's trying to discover its price while it's up here. I think you're going to be good with your call. I think that your top call is going to end up being awesome.
We'll see if I'm right about it. But if we are going to continue to break down today, eventually I think we're going to see a 125 print where we might get support. So that will be the next thing I'm looking at. But yeah, so far it looks like that 166.63 price that we hit on June 4th looks to be the top for now. Okay. I don't want to take my victory lap yet. I want to see some more breakdown first. But so far it's looking like that could be the case. So we'll see.
Also, as far as Voyager goes, I want to see this out of Voyager. VOYG. We'll see if we get it. I don't know that we're going to, but I'd love to see performance like this out of that. Okay. Pete here saying, keep the cars out of the protest this weekend. Smart move. I think you meant riots, but all the same. Another few days isn't going to matter for Tesla. I would totally agree with that. And in fact, I had a report here from one of my teammates who actually lives in the LA area. One of the things that he said, and I can't confirm this, I don't know if this is true, but I am going to mention what he had said, is that some of those Waymo cars were sent near the crowds so that they could use their video technology to ID people. And I think that I would agree, just from a company perspective here, you'd probably want to keep those vehicles away from those crowds of people.
I had also heard that some of those protesters arrived there in those Waymo cars, and then they just
they set them on fire. Yeah. So I just think all of the the little things aside, I think the overall point here from Pete, keep them away. I think that's absolutely the correct move. I think that's absolutely the correct move. Okay.
And we're
what
talking about
else?
people's safety, their vehicle safety.
Say that one more time.
They weren't talking about the other people's safety. They were talking about the vehicle safety.
Yeah.
And every Tesla records. That's right. Some people order them to vandalize them. That wouldn't surprise me. The protest organizers. There's some real bad actors in there.
Yep. Like the guy that laughed at the woman saying, "I just need to get by so I can get to work and provide for my child." And you had this stupid clown go, "Work? Imagine." It's just unbelievable. Just unbelievable. All right. UMAC here, Unusual Machines. This also on the back of the drone theme here, this popping looks like 860 here so far. This is actually a pretty decent move on some decent volume. Ondis, which we talked about, which popped out of the gate, hopefully also on that drone theme. This actually came in a little bit. It held the open though, held that pre-market price, but this did give that quick move up back. AAOI, Applied Optoelectronics here. This going higher. The company announced its first volume shipment of data center transceivers to a hyperscale customer.
Oh, Zach, is that what is coming out of the India crash? Is that there was engine failure? Let me know if that's what you're referring to.
Now, see, so that's important. However that shakes out, because wouldn't that be a GE Aerospace issue if that engine was one of those GE engines? I feel
I'm sure that blame would try to get deflected in that direction.
So GE Aerospace only down 2.28% here. This is also up off the lows. Xena getting a mention here from Kathy. Kathy, you've been sharp on a lot of these movers. Good mention here on Xena too. We're up near the pre-market high here on Xena.
Thank you, Zach, for clarifying that. I'll keep an eye out for that headline. Okay. IPA says WIS, XTIA broke a key level, says Mo. Look at XTIA.
There's RCAT. This is popping out of the gate here as well.
So this had news this morning as well. XTIA. Wow. Okay. So that's some pretty good news there. Is this also this is also another eVTOL play, isn't it? Yeah. Interesting.
Yep. It sure is. And remember, we covered that news story here earlier, that the executive order signed by Trump should bolster the entire eVTOL space, not just Joby and Archer, but some of the other names as well.
Yeah, this has some pretty high short interest. I think the highest in the company's history as of this most recent release here is 21% of the float shorted. Not so many days to cover, but that's a big jump in the short interest.
EKS here. The crashed aircraft was powered by a GE Aerospace Gen X 1B engine, or engines. There were multiple of them.
Thank you for that.
All right, Chewy, continuing to trade up here.
Seems like you got yourself a good one.
Well, I don't have it right now. I closed my short yesterday. I had been in longs before. I've had 5 successful Chewy trades in a row, but I have no exposure to this move up right now. I actually wanted to wait a couple of days, but it looks like, at least so far, Chewy's bouncing already.
Reshape did pop over that 330 level. It went up
sure
to
did. There it is.
350, but came back in. Not quite printing the pre-market high, but I wouldn't count this thing out yet. Wouldn't count it out. Looks like KLTO is trying to rebound off the 65 EMA. We'll see if it can recapture VWAP. If this thing does get volume and turn around here, we're still looking at that trend line that we drew that's on the top side.
190 is your trigger there. That trend line would be up there at about 2.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Amanda, good morning, by the way. I was long Chewy from 40 by selling the 40 puts. I'm happy today. Yeah, I bet you are. That's a nice move higher there. on that. Chewy earnings report seemed decent to me. I got back in yesterday with calls at 39. This was a really good move, Joe. It seemed decent to me too, by the way. I actually thought that was a pretty good report. However, it had just run into earnings, and that was kind of my thought, like maybe this is due for a little bit of cooling off. Now, with the report, I wanted to wait that out a little bit more. It looks like maybe I was a little too slow on that.
You're at, okay, so Gary's in KLTO at 140. I was, wow, how did you, oh, you must have got it in pre-market then. Or when did you get into KLTO at 140? I mean, that must have been yesterday, right? Let me know.
Rich. So Rich is saying, how can the manufacturers be at fault? Isn't it the maintenance? Well, I think this is why the data collected from the black box is going to be the most important thing in this case, because we're going to be able to determine from that data if this was something that should have been uncovered or even fixed during its regularly scheduled maintenance, or if this is something defective with the engine. I would imagine that this is what they're trying to do right now. But I would say if I had to bet, I would bet that it's probably a human error or something like that. Maybe not necessarily Boeing itself.
Thanks for confirming, Gary. Also, Jay Rice saying Microsoft hit all-time high this morning. They've been doing that a lot recently. Was it this morning, or let me see here? Because no, you're right. You're right. New all-time high this morning, and still looking for 500 later this year. Looks like KLTO is trying to recapture its VWAP. Be great if it did. Looks like SOAR is trying to turn around. Reshape, series of upper shadows here, but hasn't lost its VWAP yet. So that's why I'm kind of still saying don't count it out quite yet. If we lost that VWAP, I'd be a little bit more bearish on it. Wiss is mentioning HSDT. And Oracle is ripping, says Gary. HSDT, another penny stock that's cratering. Not interested. But you go ahead and trade those. I know you like to get some of those penny names. But yeah, HSDT not looking great. Oracle ripping, says Gary. Let me see that here.
I can actually bring Oracle up here. Let's do that.
That's one that I made the mistake of not listening to Ray about. This and I think Cisco. Two names that I should have been. Well, I didn't want to get over too much into too many different technology names.
Oracle Gap and Go. So far, so good. That is working.
So they didn't. Do they have earnings?
Oracle reported earnings last night. Yes.
Okay.
Yassine is asking about 200. Yassine, this feels like a 200 magnet. Once we kind of got that move higher and the gap and go, I would imagine this probably does test 200. Let's see if there's any other level. No, 200. You're going to have a blue sky breakout there on a new all-time high on Oracle. If you get that,
I think you're going to hit 200, and then I think it could come back in. That's very extended. Almost 85 RSI. Great move, but I think it needs to cool off. I think it needs to come back into 180, and then it'll be ready for a move over 200 and higher. But for me, if we move up over 200, it's just going to get more and more extended, and the resulting drop is going to be pretty painful. But it shouldn't be so quick that you can't take your gains and get out. That's just what I think. Don't say it. I'm just saying, like, it's another one of these that has been super extended. Certainly wouldn't be buying up here. Not after this run that it's had. ASTS up 3%. Just slightly higher. Still almost looking for those August highs from last year. What was that? 39.08. That's what you tell me, Joseph. 39.08. Is that a level for you? That profit taking area?
Okay, sorry about that. Handling something off screen here.
Data Trader is just absolutely destroying it on Oracle. He's been in it since 115. That's awesome.
Bet on Larry Ellison and Oracle since 2024.
Oh, and he's okay. So Data Trader, you're saying, or Date Trader, you're saying that
Day trader.
It's an 8 date trader. Anyway, okay, so day trader, sure, I'll go with that. Could hit resistance at 202, 203 per his GAN fans. So that's kind of the area I'm looking at. I mean, I think 200, but yeah, 200, 202, 203. I'm there with that as well. I think that's where the resistance is. Nice jump on XLE. I think that's on the prospect of there being an attack on Iran, even though China gets like 90% of their oil and the rest of the world gets 10%. The August 2024 high. Okay, exactly. All right, perfect. KLTO over 2. Nice stuff. Looking for that the top of the trend line there. That should take it up to about 225, I would think.
I would have the next resistance area here. I've got 210, 218 on KLTO. And we are testing the trend line right now. I actually want to see a more clean break of this trend line to the upside.
All right, so Joseph is talking about the ASTS, the August high from 2024. Yeah, that's your profit taking area, and we're right on the doorstep of it. I think you're doing just fine. XTIA to squeeze. Let me take another look at that.
XTIA, let me put it on. Here, I'm going to leave this on screen. I'm going to step away for just 1 sec. BRB.
Yeah, because we did talk about just briefly about how that the float, the short interest has just jumped in how much it was before. It went from 6.8 to 21.1 between the last two effective dates of these reports. So yeah, maybe it does, but I don't know how much. I don't know how much it's going to squeeze. I would probably guess up to some of the recent highs. Let's see, let me just zoom in here. It could be the recent highs, like yesterday. That was what 743. I also see a potential to go up to some of this consolidation from last year into this year. That's going to start it from about $10, and I'd probably peg it as high as $14 or $15. So in that range there could be resistance. And at the top of that, you have the 200-day SMA. So if it does squeeze, there's some levels for you. But if it gets past 10, then you have a couple other levels thereafter, 1250, 15, and the 200-day SMA, all resistance areas.
Which one is this?
This is XTIA. That's
wow. Okay, so we're talking about big moves then.
That's if, I mean, we're talking if it continues to squeeze. I'm not so confident we're going to see that without some kind of a cooling off. But 90 RSI now, it's just I just don't know how much you're going to get before it pulls back. And I'm just giving you levels of where we could see that begin. Needs to hold the 586 area. I think I can see that. I can kind of get that sense from some of these January prints. But all right, we'll see. We'll see what we get. KLTO, here we go. It's Nick and
Soar, here we go.
It was soaring.
Soar is right at its VWAP, and if it breaks it here, it may soar. In fact, I'm going to leave this up. Keep me posted on KLTO here. Soar, okay. 350 is your spot. We've got VWAP here, 347. It is trying, and the volume is also trying to expand here. Really need to push above this level to get this going, though.
Yep. Yeah, this has been the resistance area, 350 all morning into the open. So if we get past 350, I think you're right. We could see this trade a whole lot better. And but KLTO, man, we are almost to that trend line. Just 6 more cents.
Oh, so I have the one breaking. That was the trend line that we snapped. The trend line that you're referring to is the upward sloping one that's right here.
Yes. That's the one I was talking about.
God, I'll tell you what, these volume sticks look very similar to what we were just looking at on oh God.
Soar?
Soar. Thank you, Jesus. I am really having trouble today. Soar still at that same area though. Thoughts on AXTI, Kathy? We did see that one moving here earlier. We stopped right at 250. That's clearly the spot. What was this though? What was this moving on? Craig Hallam reaffirms their buy. That's fresh as of today.
Reshape might make the move here. It's still holding its VWAP, and it's trying to push higher now, going through some of these walls of resistance. KLTO 220. Just 5 cents shy of that trend line, it looks like.
So this AXTI, they make the wafers. This is going to be a thing behind the thing in the AI data center angle. So it's likely moving on that. Yes, this also, I guess you'd probably also tie this in to an EV angle here. Geographically, firm has business presence across the regions in Europe, Japan, Taiwan, China, North America, the Asian Pacific, from which China derives its maximum revenue. So this is going to be a Chinese name there. Remember, we had Jensen Huang recently saying that China is going to be okay with chips they have. That's just what they said. I'm not telling you saying whether that's true or not.
I mean, if that were true, then they wouldn't. All these big companies over in China, like Alibaba and Baidu, they wouldn't be stockpiling NVIDIA chips because they've already tested Huawei's new AI chips, and according to them, they're crap. They're absolute garbage. So they're
absolute garbage. 13 garbage, holding nothing back here. Get ready. Suzanne Allen is asking, where is cost going? Well, you know my answer to this. It's going higher. It just really depends on your time frame. Costco, the best brick and mortar store out there. I make no apologies.
I'll be more specific than just garbage. They said that they frequently overheated and they experienced many malfunctions during normal processes. So they're not excited about Huawei chips, AI chips. They're not. They want NVIDIA. Yeah,
Rocket trying to go higher here.
Which one?
Rocket RKT.
Oh, beautiful.
That's up here by what? About 0.5%. It looks like it dipped and then moved to the highs. It was actually on the highs in pre-market as well.
Well, we actually are getting some much better price action over the 13 level now. That was a big level we needed to get over.
Yeah, it was.
And now we're seeing, we've got 2 closes in a row above it, something we haven't had happen since April. So looking for that 200-day SMA. 1431 is the value of that.
Honey Badger saying that Costco added car washes. Not bullish on that because those automatic car washes are terrible for your car.
Reshape Life Sciences.
I'm a nut job about it. Here, RSLS, sorry.
Mm-hmm. It's trying to take out that. To me, it looks like it wants to go on and take out that that 355 level that we made in the pre-market. We almost did it with this most recent impulse move up, but this next one, I think this has to have the volume, and it needs to happen. Otherwise, it's going to come back in and lose VWAP, maybe set up for later. But here we go.
Here we go. It's moving up. Let's get that volume pump. 350 should be a spot. There it goes, right to 350. Okay, actually give me a sec here to get this all set up, and then we're going to give out some flowers.
All right. I think I'm going to do another one of those topside trend lines with the wicks that we got in the pre-market here for RSLS.
I think that is a fabulous idea.
So I just went with the 831 and the 855 one.
So just right through here?
No, I did use that red one. The red the one you're drawing through.
So like this?
Yeah.
Oh, yep. Good Lord. Okay, hang on. I don't have enough chart space to draw that one. Good God, that gives us a target up in the 4s. Watch it. This volume keeps expanding. Oh my God.
There it goes.
13's like, you better draw that correctly.
Hurry up, Ryan.
Listen to me when I tell you what to draw on the damn chart.
Okay, well, that didn't take long, did it, folks? God, right, almost right to it. And it's going to hit, it could very well hit it in the next matter of seconds.
So wait, Costco, these car washes are gold at Costco. Lines of cars 20 deep every day. I've never even seen one.
SOAR also getting some
Interesting.
activity. Looks like some of the all the movers are starting to get some attention here. What a really great move with RSLS right to
yeah, that was. This is the move so far of the day. That was called live there.
I guess I need to be a little bit quicker on having you draw that next time.
I mean, I guess I need to do a better job, 13. That's what we really need to do here. That's what's going on. By the way, ELF getting mentioned here in the chart. This is an ELF off the shelf because we just went off that 110 volume shelf and that volume point of control. I'll tell you what, there were a couple of folks that have been trading this recently from our community, both in the happy hour and I think also in the morning show here. What a move off the $50 level here off the bottom. Steve D saying ELF up again, up 81% over the last 3 months. So this move here off the April lows to where we're at now, indeed, 156%. Just a huge move here for ELF. This gapped above its 200, running to its 500. I do expect some resistance here at 130, and then I guess after that, maybe 144.
So how much are those? I haven't seen the car washes at Costco.
Neither have I. This is news to me. Yeah. I've never seen
much is
that.
It? How much is it? If you guys could tell us, or is it free with you could buy a certain amount of product there? Let me know because I haven't seen one. I haven't heard about that. Interesting though.
Yeah, that is interesting. I'm of course interested in the technology in it and how good the wash itself is because man, oh man. I mean, just simply using any type of pad will scratch and mar your paint. $7.99, Curtis is saying. That is so cheap.
Jonathan, you mentioned CVAC. I looked at that one this morning. This is a buyout.
Yeah.
So
that's why I don't think we covered it very much.
Oh, okay. I mean, it does look like it is getting some movement here this morning. It's up like 20 cents, I think, from the open, but yeah, I don't know how much is going to be here for a trade unless you were already in this at 4.
This is BioNTech acquiring German rival CureVac for $1.25 billion in an all-stock deal. And so I think that's why you're seeing the price moves because it's the all-stock deal.
Yeah.
And not necessarily a price. Yeah, car wash is only $8. Best quality for the price. No others like it. I am interested in that. Amanda says, Ryan, if you're worried about automatic car washes, I can have my kids come drive your car for a bit. I just got goosebumps from anxiety. Then little scratches won't worry you so much. So I see what you're trying to do there, but we'll go a different route.
You're just going to have a dirty car?
No, no. My car has a professional level detail on it at all times. I got the receipts.
I saw it. Looks pretty nice.
It just gives me anxiety because I spent so much time on it. Soar right back at the VWAP. Let's see if we soar from here.
It's trying to. It's making a move. Looks like it wants to try and go for those pre-market levels. We'll see if it can do it. They just got a bid. They're starting to walk it up now. All right, folks. All right.
I think Crow's saying this is it. Here we go.
No, wait. Maybe she's flying. With a name like Soar, you have to. Do the sound.
Which one?
Maybe she's flying, man.
Oh, God. Where is that? I think it's here. Don't kill me if it's wrong.
Maybe she's flying, man.
There we go. Okay. There we go. We haven't used that one in a hot minute, so I apologize for not knowing that. Not me, man. I like to feel like the cleanest thing in my car. Yeah, the cleanest thing in my car are the floor mats. It is the car. It is so spot. In fact, actually, my producer, one of my other producers, was in it yesterday and said, first thing, oh my God, this is pristine. I feel bad.
Slideshow, geez, that's a nice surprise, but my man, be careful, please. Don't want you to suddenly wonder why your portfolio is down. Be like, oh yeah, I've got 1,000 shares of this. It's not.
Oh, wouldn't be down.
But I know. But I'm saying like, he just didn't realize he had 1,000 shares. So hey, that's great, but please be careful.
So those car washes are only on the new Costco builds. Interesting. I wonder if they'll get added in some locations. Ryan is 10x Kramer. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to pretend that it's good, and I'm going to go with it.
Oh, yeah.
RSLS, by the way, didn't quite get to the crispiness of 13's trend line, but we did turn around there at 4.
It's still holding up, too. But let's see. It was Joby, right, that Kramer mentioned. How's that doing today? Oh man, didn't we talk or I gave you a chart, right, about Joby, about what it did. Like, look at what happened in December, and we're observing like very similar price action now. So this thing could come, way down, like come down to the 20-day SMA around 785 before it gets support. Why did he mention this at the top? What a fool.
Bro, I just don't know. I actually I was skeptical even making that my opener today, but at some point it's just they're so good. And by good, I mean well timed. And by well timed, I mean very poorly timed. It's just he picks the exact wrong spot. I don't get it.
I almost get the sense that he pumped it up so that he and a bunch of buddies can make their exit.
If that's the case, then that is some shenanigans. Rocket, by the way, breaking higher here, 1392. Wait till we get over the 14 spot in Rocket. I think we had, what was it, 15 or 16?
Yeah, I like 15 and 16. 16 is the kind of the highs from March. We were triple topping there, and then after that you have 18, which is the IPO price. Looks like Grayshape is setting up for its next move up. If this holds 350 and for the next 5-10 minutes, I think we do end up trying to push higher up to that trend line. So that's what I'm looking at here with RSLS. Is got to hold 350, should get another move up.
Crocodile Dumb Me says, when can I invest in the Faluna Charitable Trust? I don't want to follow the Jim Cramer plan, but I will say this. If I ever become extremely wealthy, and make no mistake, I am not there yet, but if I ever become extremely wealthy, I will pull a Carnegie / Rockefeller type move and try to give that wealth away before I end up going to the next world, because I cannot take it with me. But I'm not going to go the way of Jim Cramer. I'm not going to go the way of Jim Cramer.
Let's see. W was mentioning CRDO is going. It's up 3.3% today. It is going higher than yesterday. I don't think this is necessarily a big rip, but what does look interesting is that $80 level. I'd really like to see what happens when we get up there again, if we can get up there again. Big rejection at that site earlier this month. So if we do trend up back up to that level, I'd really like to see some volume expansion happen at 80, because that'll take us up to those all-time highs we had back in January.
I think if you snap those all-time highs, this thing's probably going to close in on 100 just because of the round number pull at that point.
Looks like we're getting a little bit of weakness in these mover names.
Chenier, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correct, because that is such a pretty name. Chenier, you were worried about water spots yesterday. I'm sure automatic car washes are out of the question for you. LOL. Facts. You are exactly right. Unless they use the spot-free water filters in that wash. Just kidding. I am, all jokes aside, for my own car is one thing, because I'm neurotic and crazy, but I am interested in the actual development of this. $8, I could see the people that I live around that also go to Costco, I could see them using that car wash exclusively. And I bet that thing runs from open to close nonstop. You guys were talking about 20 cars deep in a line. I wouldn't be surprised if that lasts most of the day. And that, to me, now I'm starting to think about revenue numbers versus costs and all of that, and what that might mean for the bottom line. I mean, I'm more interested in that, I think, than anything else. Chime is open? No way.
I'm not seeing any price action yet, so I don't know if it's trading yet. It doesn't appear to be.
Yeah, I don't. Let me check my broker here. CHYM.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. That's no. Sideshow. No. It's not open yet. I'm not even getting the ladder pulled up here in my broker. God, I would have been shocked if that was open at 10:15.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it might open soon if he's seeing something. I mean, what did you get a sideshow that indicated that it was open? If it's open and halted, that's different. But what's the indication that it said it was open so that we can look at it too?
Not open, just drive. Okay, so interesting. So you're getting orders. Kathy's saying it's open. I can't even pull it up. I have a tough time believing that it's open.
So,
you guys might be able to pull the price ladder up. I can't even do that.
Yeah, I and my broker, I can see that it's listed today. It's at $27, but there's nothing happening.
Yeah, I don't think this is open yet. And you know what? They would have made a big deal about that on CNBC, and I haven't seen anything since the initial mention of it earlier.
Well,
by the way, Oracle here, Oracle gap and go on Oracle. Gap and go, bang, bang, bang. This thing's going to print 200 here today.
Fantastic.
What were you trying to say? I think I just ran you over.
It's okay. So we just had a trading halt updated, 4 minutes ago. Quotation resumption, IPO security released for quotation. So that's what we were seeing here. It's been released for quotation.
Okay, and that's why Schwab is saying that it's halted. Interesting.
Yeah, immediately halted. So basically halted into the IPO. So I don't know that this is going to behave like a regular halt, where we're going to see this unhalt in 5 minutes. But I don't think it's going to do that.
And I actually think we're going to be able to. I bet they're going to go to the post and they're going to do the whole thing that they do, because this is one of those highly followed IPOs. Zach McCracken saying, Ryan, you made a bold claim yesterday that you are the best driver from 99%. I actually said 99.99%, but go off of the world. Go-Kart 125 two-stroke challenge accepted. Okay, I've got no familiarity with that engine. Give me a couple of practice laps. Do I get that at least? Challenge is accepted.
Yeah, I remember putting somebody into a wall with go-karts.
Done that plenty of times. You tap that back fender, they spin out, then the attendant's got to come over and move the cart manually, and you're out there laughing. Yeah.
The road was curving, and he was trying to get me on the outside as it was curving, and I denied him. So I just basically kept on going straight, and he ended up driving into the curve. So it was perfect.
Anyway. Go ahead.
No, I was done.
I was going to say, the producer here is trying to get a dig in on me. With the car you drive, I assume you don't bother using turn signals. I'll be honest with you. This was something that I did not know was a thing. Okay, I didn't even know that this was like a thing. I've always used my turn signals unless it's an evasive maneuver. It doesn't matter the brand of car I drive. I will always use turn signals, and I will always use a seatbelt. And you folks should always use the same thing. Okay, Oracle looks like it stopped there at 199. Still think that probably prints 200. Let's check in on some of the movers. RSLS did not quite hit our trend line, but has come in so far. The drone stocks holding higher here. RCAT at least is. Ondas, I know we popped initially and came back in, but we're trading up towards the top end of the range. What was the other one? UMAC, right? Universal Machines. That was another one in the drone play that was moving earlier. That is holding higher up here near its highs. This is actually back to where it opened yesterday.
Voyager, it looks like that's up 4% today.
That's VOYG. Yeah, I'm still watching that here. I was actually pretty happy with myself yesterday. I added just a little bit when this first started to come back in, and then I added a little bit more as it started to base. I'm hoping that we get a quick push here. I'm hoping that this really doesn't pull back to like 50 or 45 before it makes a move. We'll see. I know that this is another followed one. I'd like to see some movement later.
Yeah, I don't want to make a call either, but this the way that it's been trading since the IPO, it seems like it is going to come back down to 51.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
So maybe I'll just wait on this one. But
Eric saying, I got rocked on the Voyager IPO. What did you do? How did you end up trading that? The reason I ask is because we're going to have the Chime IPO today. We had mixed results on the CoreWeave IPO and then the Circle IPO. So we've had some of these bigger IPOs recently. And I'm just trying to, I think personally, if you're going to trade these on IPO day, you might as well just wait out that opening pop. Don't even chase that pop to the highs, because that's how you're going to get destroyed. Instead, wait for the stock to sell off a little bit Voyager yesterday bottomed at 51, immediately bounced. You can see it right here, immediately bounced, and then made a couple of higher lows there. That to me told me that we were going to be okay. Now, we really haven't run since then, but I would just wait out that initial pop instead of chasing it.
Oh, nice mention, Jonathan Cooper. DFDV.
And Sideshow, what are some things you heard about Chime? So DFDV, you said? Yeah, DFVD. So I haven't actually heard a lot about Chime. The people in my network that I talked to about IPOs were talking primarily about Voyager. Chime, I've heard from you guys, and I relate that to SoFi because there seems to be some popularity with that. I also see those Chime commercials all day.
Huh, I haven't seen Chime yet, the commercials. Looks like we getting a little bit of a pull here in the SPY after popping back up over 600,
yeah.
V-shape coming down to test that 350. This has got to hold here, or else, VWAP is still in the way from the downside. So, maybe it finds support there. But this candle's got to, not break down, or it might be the end of it for RSLS. SOAR still trying to get past 366, 367. It looks like. NEHC, this is starting to curl and come back. This is the one that was over $1 earlier today, and now it's under $1. Trying to get back over $1. VWAP is at 102.5. Lion's been an SGMT since it was under 3. CoreWeave is very overvalued. Certainly is.
It feels that way. Chime is doing a lot of sport. That's where I see those commercials. Crocodile done me.
Sports?
Yeah, sporting events. See a lot of Chime commercials during that.
Maybe that's why I haven't seen it. I haven't been watching hockey like you guys have.
And then also the basketball game. How about those Pacers last night?
Okay, reshape got that support at 350. It's trying to get going here. We'll see if what it got for us. See what it got. Is it going to go back over 4? That'd be cool. Meanwhile, SOAR is not doing that anymore. KLTO, after going up to near that trend line that we drew earlier, this thing has come down pretty handily off that, even losing the VWAP in the process. There could be more trading with this one later, but still think it needs to come down some more before that happens. There's a large number of sellers are just over 2. So that could get locked down, or it could just be some pretty stiff resistance for any upside price action.
Megal ripping on volume to the highs.
Oh, is Megal back?
Yep, this was we talked about this no, not yesterday, day before, huh?
Yeah, this one was running in the pre-market the day before.
Yep. Tuesday, June 10th. That's when we got that PR running again here. A little bit of a delay. Megal running up here over yesterday's high.
I'd be looking at all the levels in the pre-market from a couple of days ago for where this could go. So I see $3 potentially. I see resistance at 265. The high in the pre-market that was up at $4. All levels that we could use.
Yassine, is that a profitable trade there on Oracle? There we go. You opened up the chest to see a money sign. Ka-ching. Oracle now through 200. Let's see, what was the next? Up blue sky breakout. Blue sky breakout here on Oracle. Let's go.
What you going to do, Reshape? I'm really just waiting to see if Reshape's going to end up going higher than the 413 print we got. Volume is starting to drift. We're all 8 minutes away from that time, that the 10:30 bell toll, when volume really starts to leave the market. People go on their lunch breaks, all that good stuff. Maybe one more move and Reshape before that time happens.
Love this. Yassine, Home Depot, here I come for a Father's Day gift. Yeah, Home Depot. That's a father's toy store, huh? Check out that automotive pressure washer that they just released. Just kidding.
Yeah. What's it going to be? What are you going to get?
Yeah. What are you? I'm curious now. Like I'm curious. New tool, new drill. Are you doing a project? What are you going to get there? And by the way, we'll mention this again as tomorrow when we get closer to Friday. But happy Father's Day coming up here to all of the fathers that are in the chat. And 13, I know you're a father out there. Happy Father's Day coming up here. Do you have any big plans at all?
Well, my father-in-law's, he's living out here more now. He lives between here and California, so we're going to be spending a lot of time with him. That should be a lot of fun. We're going to, I think there's some car shows we might go to. Because you've seen his.
Yeah.
So he wants to end up bringing, her name's Charlotte. We want to bring her out here, or Scarlett. I'm sorry, Scarlett.
Is it red?
Yeah, you've seen it. It's a nice.
I'm setting it up for the audience, dude.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll look at it another time, but yeah, we're going to be spending time with him, so that'll be a lot of fun. But I'm really interested to see what Yassine's going to get out of Home Depot. I know if there is one thing I'd want to get if I was Home Depot, because I know I need one, is a chop saw. Absolutely need to have one of those.
Everything I love everything. I love everything Ryobi. So that pressure washer that I was talking about, that is Ryobi.
I have a Ryobi.
$50. Yeah, really good stuff. Concrete washer. All right. I love this. On this, by the way, back to the highs. USAR. We talked about USAR and MP being a play on some of those rare earth mineral news headlines that we got before. This now back onto the highs. Watch for a pop here, maybe above 14. USAR. This has been one of the better, smaller stocks on that theme. My car's name is Money Sucker. My car doesn't have a name. Fun fact, though, I did start naming my cars after I saw the movie Gone in 60 Seconds.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, look, I was a sucker for that movie when I was younger. And yeah, my Mustang, my Trans Am, they all got female names. I wasn't clever. I just copied names out of Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yeah, I've been coming up with names for every car I've owned ever since then. And that's what we just call it. My wife and I both do it. It's pretty funny. Let's see. When we had a Durango, we called her Darla. When, she had her Sentra. She called it Lucy. We have a family car now, an Equinox, that we call Sophie.
Okay.
So yeah, we name them all.
Yeah, you have to name your car. Yeah, Eleanor. Yeah, my Mustang, my 95 white Mustang. Yep. Super creative. I made it Eleanor.
One of these days, I'm not gonna get an Eleanor, but it's gonna be a nice older classic car, and I'm gonna love it with every inch of my being. I want it to be a Nova. I really do. It's one of my favorite old cars.
We have someone in here that's got some pretty sick Novas. Okay, really quickly here. I did want to highlight something here from our community. We're going to give out some flowers. Okay. Let me make sure. Go ahead.
I was going to say, watch Voyager. That's breaking over the 65 EMA on the 5-minute. This is some, first time it's doing it since earlier this morning, where it was rejected. So if this continues to get some volume, we could see this break the the opening high here. Just wanted to flag it.
Yeah, no, that's great. Let's go. Let's pop above 61 and go. Okay, every one of my vehicles is named as well. That's awesome. Okay, really quickly here, just want to shout out to your community. We talked a lot about Day Trader. I thanked him for making those Bitcoin Treasury ETFs. I really appreciate any type of help that the group gives me or any other group members here for research. And yesterday, I got some really great stuff here from thinking about it from our chat. We've talked a lot about SpaceX recently as part of the space theme and all of that. We talked about DXYZ and how this is a really kind of a great play to get exposure to SpaceX and all of that. Well, my man out here is doing some digging. Just watching the segment with Tim, DXYZ, 52.4% of their holdings are SpaceX, but they only have about 190K shares. Now, I can't remember what I read to you yesterday. The number was 36, 37. I think I said percent. That might have been wrong. It's valued here at 36 million. So their share percentage is valued at 36 million. That was back in 2024. SpaceX has 1.8 billion shares estimated. They only have 190K. So this represents 0.0115%. Okay. So I actually thanked him for doing the legwork on this. And he kept digging. All right. Kept digging in here. Found this on the website. Holdings as of March 31st of 2025. They hold SpaceX in 3 funds, and the last 2 columns are cost and fair value. Looks like the current value here, 36.2 or 0.3 million. It ain't nothing, but it's not what people think they got. And then he linked the source document as well as a screenshot here. I just want to say thank you, thinking about it. Thank you for doing this. And thanks anyone else in our community that does research or legwork like this. This is how we can make each other better and give each other better information. I might have misquoted something yesterday, thinking about it here without calling me a moron, just went and did some work that can benefit everybody. So thinking about it, I really appreciate this. And I look forward to more of this from our entire group. Really, really good stuff.
It is great. And one thing to add to that, Barron's investment firm, I may have mentioned it before. If you are trying to look for to get SpaceX shares, they own almost 815,000 of that. So their valuation is over $1 billion. They have over $1 billion stake in SpaceX. So you can't publicly trade it, unfortunately. But if you are looking to privately own shares, that's, I think, the way you would go about getting them is through Barron's.
Okay. Really good stuff there from the group. Shannon saying Ryan is a father, also father of Zinger Buddy. First of all, Shannon, I really appreciate this because this is how I view it. My animals are members of my family and I'm their dad. But what I will say here is that I've actually said this to other people that are actual legitimate fathers. And for whatever reason, they got all bent out of shape. So ever since that happened, I generally don't do this, but I appreciate you doing this because I definitely feel that way. Also, her Mustang's name was Sugar. Good name for a car. Good name for a car.
It must have been pretty sweet.
It must have been pretty sweet. Well done. Well done there. Okay.
Not soaring so much anymore. This thing went right down to the 65 EMA.
Yeah, and it's holding there. Actually might be moving lower.
Yeah. I think that can end up for sure going lower. 250 would be my next spot to the downside. KLTO, that's still holding up its VWAP, but testing it all the same. Lots of sellers, like I was mentioning earlier, just above $2, and this could get locked down. So be careful there. Reshape Life Sciences still hasn't made its a big move back up into the 4 yet, but it is holding above 350 still. So it's got that going for it. Voyager, rejected by the 65 EMA again, back around the VWAP, and we're waiting for Chime to do something.
13. What color Nova are you looking for? And Amanda, man, I agree, but that is not a popular opinion. Yes, fur babies are children, absolutely. Ondus, it is moving. Ondus is moving higher. We did move above that initial spike there, so let's go. Let's keep going. Sorry, 13. Shannon, what was that?
Red. My favorite color. It would have to be red. That's what I want my Nova to look like.
Is there a specific red from like a particular brand, like candy apple red, cherry red? I think candy apple. Is that the Ferrari red color? Someone check me on that. I'll do it.
Okay. I just don't have to say anything.
Is it? Do you know?
No. You're doing fine. You're doing all the work. It's fine.
I feel like I'm walking into a trap here based on.
No. You're camo painted. That's interesting. No, you're not walking into a trap. You're just talking about looking things up, and I was like, I don't have to answer the question.
Here we go. So Scuderia is a slightly darker and more aggressive red than Corsa. Mugello is a deep, almost burgundy with a hint of brown. Dino, Florinado, no, man, Ferrari's got several shades of red. Well, you'll have to let us know.
Yep. I could show you.
Candy apple red was a Porsche color. You might be right, Bigabees, because it wasn't on that list. That's for sure. BA sinking again. I wanted to take a look at that. Sorry, 13. If you got something, I'll move to it. But okay, so this did bounce a little bit. This is rolling back over. Now we haven't found any new news. I haven't seen anything come across Twitter on that. By the way, Chime shares indicated at 38. The IPO priced at 27.
I slacked you the kind of color I'd like. I sent you a picture of a rally sport. So if you want to get an idea of what color I like.
Yep. Here it is. Here it is. So this, come on, you got to load faster than that. Here you go. Here's the red. 13 likes.
That's the yeah. I like that one.
You guys get me talking about cars. This is going to go off the rails in a damn hurry.
SOAR losing the 65 EMA, now headed towards the 200 EMA.
Sweet one. Good morning, Sweet one. It's good to see you again. Iran tension is the news of the day, in my opinion. You know what's interesting about that is we continue to trade up here. So we're actually up off the 598 lows. I'd be curious to see if we can get back above that 603 area. We also got stopped yesterday about 604 and a half. So that to me would be another level. If we can get over and close above, we might be in good shape. Portillo's is going up. Let me pinch myself to make sure I'm awake.
Sideshow's got a good question here. He knows there's not a specific answer, but in your experience, when do new IPO possibly open? I thought it was like around noon or 1. They typically do. Is that right?
Yeah. So my frame of reference is a little bit different because I've always been in Central Time. Mm-hmm. So generally speaking, I've noticed anywhere between 10:30 and 12 Central Time is when I see most IPOs open. So that is 11:30 to 1. I think that's exactly what you just said, 13. They definitely seem to be midday. They seem to like to get the opening print out of the way early before they release these new IPOs, which makes sense to me. Generally speaking, midday after the morning rush.
Yeah.
That's how I would answer that.
When they're all coming back from lunch and whatnot. Everybody's back in their seats. Let's open the IPO.
Fairchild. My friend had a 1968 hearse chopped with a camper topper. I'd actually like to see pictures of that at some point. That probably looked wild. I've always been partial to the Starsky and Hutch red. I can see that. That makes a lot of sense to me.
SOAR, not doing that. Almost down to the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. Reshape lost that 350 coming down to VWAP. Looking like a lot of these movers are about finished here, except KLTO. This is turning around and possibly heading for the trend line that we drew earlier.
Let me put that on screen here. ARAI, that was Kathy. That was one of those that you spotted the other day here. So that came all the way back in. Okay, interesting. That came back in and it's basing here. Wonder if this gets some more action as it goes through 10 on Arrive AI.
So Crow, you're saying DeFi is got a similar setup as SBET yesterday. So what are we looking at here for this one? Are we looking at going to yesterday's high of 31.14, or are we looking at 50? You tell me. See, like we when things slow down, we still have some great activity here because we just start talking about something that everybody's into. I love it. And now we're going
colors.
Oh, we're going to start getting all kinds of car picks. So you just watch.
I think we're and Big B's is out here doing research. Chrysler, Ford, and GM use the term candy apple red. Is there a better term? I mean, like when I think candy apple red, fire engine red would be another one. But candy apple, I mean, it's just like you just want to eat it. I mean, everything about that sounds great.
Hey, Beach Bum. How you doing?
Good morning, Beach Bum. Great to see you.
Well, it is encouraging that Reshape is getting support from VWAP, but volume is not great. It's not as great as it used to be. So make volume great again, and we might see Reshape Life Sciences pick up some more.
Seeing a news post here from Unusual Whales, Trump and other meme coins will not be protected by the SEC. And that comes from Commissioner Hester Pierce. I think that's only good news. I don't think you should. I don't care what name any of these meme coins follow. None of them should be protected from shenanigans. That to me seems obvious. That's good. That's good news to read.
Testing 30, 40 possible. Gotcha. Thank you, Crow. So we were just looking at DFDV. He's looking at a 30 print pretty soon. We're testing it now, actually, with the 2977 print we just had. But you tell me if this is kind of what you're looking at here with the price action, Crow. Seems to me like it needs to come back in and get support at about 27 and a half and be 27.30. And then we can have that conversation about going to 40. What do you think? Because it looks like it's since it's had this big morning run, it's a little extended. I'd like to see it come back into that level. It's a couple bucks down from here, and then it can rocket up. How about that? Does that sound good? Because I like the way that sounds.
I mean, when you guys talk about rocketing up and moving up 10 points, that of course sounds good to me. Just saying.
I mean, just keep an eye on KLTO because that seems like the one of the more interesting movers right now. Still having a time getting back above $2, $2.10 actually.
Oracle. This is up 14%. What a move by Oracle. Here's your KLTO.
Volume is needing to be better. Reshape might be finished.
Ondis, more new highs.
Looks like SOAR is trying to rebound near the 200 EMA on the 5-minute.
Rocket red is my favorite color, says Gary. Okay. SOAR is soaring into the ground.
Well, it's trying to catch a rebound here, but could go right back.
It should try harder because it's not doing anything.
Try harder.
Do or do not. PLRZ, this is Poly Ryzen. This has been another one of the movers off of our movers list that we've covered before. We were a little skeptical of this one, but it's ramping on volume here. Poly Ryzen shares are trading higher after the company reported preclinical results showing that its trap and target formulation achieved targeted deposition in the upper nasal cavity. Okay.
I feel like this move is late because that news came out hours ago. Yeah, it's the first headline I see is from around 7:30 this morning. Looks like they did get an initial pop, but it came right back in. All right. Anyway, I like how just passing through is starting to give us the Ferrari fun facts. The Testarossa, which I absolutely love, that and the Countach. Which is not Ferrari, I know, but still.
No, but the Testarossa, the Countach, and the Diablo, those are classic Italian supercars that got me into cars, so I'm partial to that. Custom painted white by Ferrari for the television series so it could stand out. That is a phenomenal fun fact. I should have let you kept reading that. I'm sorry, 13. That's so good.
It's okay because I was starting to think when I think about, like the beach and how Miami Vice had like all these white blazers on with lots of neons as well. White goes, neon looks really good on white cars. And I'm not saying like on the cars themselves, but like with the reflection. So you're going down in a white Ferrari with all those different signs on the street reflecting off the white car. Beautiful.
I'm entirely unsurprised to see that the color was specifically selected for how it would appear on camera. That would make a lot of sense. Jay Rice here, Oracle. Generally, when a name rips through the expected move, this is the case. In this case, 12 option sellers are forced to buy stock, pushing it higher. This is really good. So we often talk about the implied move versus what the stock actually did. And the thought here is that if you eclipse that, you're going to then force the option buyers, or excuse me, the option sellers to then help you by buying the stock itself. Lion, take care of yourself.
Take care, Lion.
PLRZ, by the way, this continues to move higher here. 120, the high now. Ondis pulled off that 172 spot. Glenn, I think you gave us 173. It actually printed there and pulled off. Glenn, amazing here. Fib level Glenn out here just giving them to us. 0.382 level at 173. Ondis stopped there when it went there. PLRZ here stopping at 123, but it might be trying to go higher.
All right, here's another pop in Voyager. Oh, perfect. DFDV is starting to pull. So, Crow, I think this is what. I mean, I don't think I saw what you were what your response was to my question. But if we are going to get a pull here, this is the one that I like to see. I like to see it go down to down to 27, maybe 27 and change. Get some support there. Then watch it go to over 30 to 40 in the 40s area. LIMN halt.
Halted to the upside here on volume. Did we have news associated with this? No. Nope. Don't see anything fresh here on this one. That might just be true. This is up 50%. Nearly 50%. Wow.
Yeah, there must be either some news coming. This is a recompliance play, so there might be something happening there. What is the GCC vaccine? Let me look that up because depending on what, there's no website for this. Depending on what that is, there might be some other stock that is in the same space that's moving up, and it's just going with some sympathy. That would be my guess. Other than that, we should see some news.
Yeah, I'm looking around for any news that might not be hitting or rumored, and I don't see it, at least not yet. Anyway, good mention there. LIMN.
Here we go. Found the website. Let's see what. Oh, can't provide a secure connection. Okay, well, I won't be doing that.
ARAI. This one's continuing to curl here. Kathy, Mark, are you guys trading this? This ARAI? VOYG curling up. How's Chime? Is that open? Let's see if that's. I suspect no, it's not. And I suspect we're probably not going to get prints on this while we're on the show here. Got another 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
TMUS data breach, Aura. Oh, no. No, why?
What's going on?
I just moved my tool and I don't think there's a way to get this back. Oh, that sucks, dude.
There's no undo. I thought there was
there's an undo. There's an undo only for clearing away workspaces, not for what I just did, which I'll fix it a different way. Yeah, I fixed it a different way. I knew as soon as I did it. It was one of those where your cheeks start burning and you know immediately that you did something wrong. That was exactly as soon as that happened, I was like, F. But we got it. We fixed it.
Okay. What is this?
Gene editors again. What was Zach? Was this you talking about the gene editors a couple of days ago? Eat It went above 2, made that high, came back in a little bit. It actually looks like we're going to re-challenge that. 223 is the high print. Gary, clever question. The ones on your face. You guys know what I mean. Kathy, nice job on ARAI. Let me know what your exit point is on that. No, Aura, that's not tuned. It's a 2022, so I actually have to send the ECMs to Norway or whatever to get them unlocked. I'll do that when the warranty expires, maybe a downpipe on top of it. Not tuned, it's just straight up factory. I tell you, it's still a beast factory, though. It doesn't really need a whole lot, to be honest. That TMUS data breach that you guys were mentioning, is this responding to it? Yes, definitely.
Let's see here. TMUS data breach, you say?
Yeah, 218, 210, probably your next level's down there. Is this confirmed, or are you guys? I haven't seen this. Is this a confirmed thing? Are we sure of this?
I'm seeing some news here, but it's like hours old. Hackers target T-Mobile again, claim 64 million records stolen. That
had to have been it. Yeah, that's the breach. Okay, well, stock's down 1.2% here.
Yeah, but this news is like 5 hours old.
Yeah, I don't think he said it was breaking news. I just think that was news.
Okay, I thought this is like something that just was announced and it's responding to it.
NBIS here. NBIS really needs to hold this 49.81 level. This is the trend line that we had from the recent high spikes. A back test of this trend line might send it higher here, though. NBIS. I know Story Trading likes this as well.
Looks like LIMN opened, and it may. I don't want to say it's going to halt again, but it looked like it could have there, but it's not. So it's starting.
No, but this is continuing to move higher here.
Yeah, I was trying to find some news on it.
I still haven't found anything. I can ask the news desk, but I still haven't found anything on it. Wisdom, I had a BMW M3 in high school. Boy, you had an M3 in high school? That is something else. And it was why I had to walk to school my junior year. Yeah, I bet. Don't be giving 16, 17-year-olds M3s. Probably not a good idea. Oh.
Yeah, it's so LIMN is in the oncology space, so there must be it might be moving with some of these other names, maybe like KLTO. I don't know, but I don't think that would make a whole lot of sense to me because this is a big move for an individual name, and there usually should be some news attached to it. Don't have a float reading there. Let me see what I get in my my broker. Almost 13 million shares.
PLRZ took another leg higher here. Poly Rising looks like that second leg topped at 138 before coming back in a little bit.
I'm just looking to see if there's any news that I can find with LIMN about maybe this day today being having some significance that was announced earlier. So just kind of seeing if I can find that.
Yassine, I had a Geo Metro in high school. When I was in high school, I had an amazing choice. I got to choose to drive my mom's Woody wagon, a Buick from the early 90s, or my dad's champagne-colored Chevy minivan. So yeah, as you can imagine, I saved every dime I could when I was around that age to try and get myself a car, so that I wasn't in a Woody wagon or a champagne-colored minivan.
The wood paneling on station wagons was hilarious.
I mean, it wasn't even real wood. It was a sticker. I mean, it was just, I tell you what, cars have come a long way since when I was a little kid.
Yeah, they've moved that wood from the outside to the inside. It's quite nice.
Those wood trims on the inside of some of those cars actually look sweet.
Yeah, Gary, that's kind of what I'm seeing here. And it is at 20, just like this Moj just said. So I don't have any. I mean, we'll probably find out later what it is, but there must have been something that may have been one of their earlier filings about today having some significance, or maybe there's some kind of conference or something that's going on. But I know that this was a NASDAQ recompliance play. We just got they just announced recompliance last week. Don't know why it's going. Wisdom. His next car was a 1970s Pinto, so no girls for him.
Yeah, back in high school, I had to get girls based on something other than a car. That was not a selling point back then.
Oh, nice. Buffalo by Bicycle. Thanks to shows like this, I just bought a 2025 Ram Bighorn.
Hey, new truck days? We'll take that.
Truck gang.
Truck gang, okay.
Sorry, I just had to throw out a little Ginger Billy humor. He's a content creator. He's funny. Yeah, they certainly did. They probably still do. I may get in trouble with that comment. All right. Yeah. See, there we go. Now it starts. Alpha moving up. Oh, that's good. Now, one of the other things with ONDS, Zach, is that I think they just did an offering too, so that pulled it down. So they're recovering off that. Silverado, huh? Like a rock. PLRZ says smoked tuna. What?
Yeah, we've been talking about PLRZ. That has continued to push higher here. It looks like it stopped off the last impulse move here.
Oh, yeah, the preclinical results. That's right.
KNW, remember, this was a mover back on Friday of last week and then went ham on Monday. We're actually starting to curl back up. The reality is that if we take out yesterday's intraday high, which is just a scotch above 4 here, we're probably going to that pre-market high of 5 that we put in the couple of days prior. This was the Monday impulse candle from the pre-market. So I'd watch that level here, KNW, for a trade. Rocket above 14. That's exactly what we want to see.
Oh, yeah. Love it. Let me see this price action this morning. Are they getting more news, or is it still? Oh, they had the last big piece of news was that notes offering.
Wisdom says, nice shirt, Ryan. That color makes you look young and buff. As if I am not either of those under normal circumstances. It's a teal color, and I know y'all will be shocked, but I picked this up from Costco. I think I paid $12 for this shirt.
Len
We're breaking the bank out here. Okay, guys.
It looks like Reshape is trying to turn around, but man, all these movers from this morning aren't looking as great as they were before. KLTO still trying to push back over 210. That seems to have been some resistance ever since it made that pop up to 220. Nice to see it hold the VWAP. If we can get over 210, I'd be looking at that 230 level. Yes, me too, Yassine.
Yep, same.
That and Buc-ee's.
I tell people that it's a life hack to shop for clothes at Costco, and they stare at me blankly. A lot of them stare at me blankly initially. And I've even had a couple of people then respond and say, so let me get this straight. You buy your clothes, your motor oil, and your tires at the same store? And I said, yeah. So I don't know what that says about me, but it is what it is.
LIMN hit 21, and now we're starting to pull off of that level. Might end up with a red candle, but still have 4 minutes left in it.
Okay. Here, Amanda, I have my first consultant call today. Wish me luck. Good luck, Amanda. If they like me, I get more expert opinion assignments, and they pay me $450 to ask me questions for 45 minutes. Folks, we should all consider ourselves lucky because we ask Amanda questions for 45 minutes all the time, and we don't get charged $450. So that's a good thing. Amanda, I would also like you to wish me good luck because our good friend Jay Rice here included a ball in the shipment that he gave me that is a Packers ball specifically for the purpose of smacking this into Lake Michigan and or the abyss so that it remains there for the rest of its life. So be sure to wish me luck too, because I got that coming up here pretty soon.
Don't you worry, Amanda. Those Bears fans need every edge they can get.
That's right. That's right. Better believe it.
But yeah, I mean, congratulations on $600 an hour.
Yeah.
That's probably a super flex. You know, yeah, I go and make $600 an hour. What do you need us for? We hope you keep coming back. Buffalo by Bicycle, nice, Amanda. Pays to be a stock nerd. See, exactly, just as you were saying.
Yeah, it does. I'll tell you what. I think I've told you this story before. I saw Wall Street when I was younger. Mm-hmm. The first time I saw Wall Street, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is something I want to do." And my parents weren't into it, and I started reading about it and started learning about it in school, and I was like, "Oh yeah, oh yeah."
Yeah, I do not know what to make of this LIMN. This is really surprising. I wish I had some news to, help me understand why this is doing what it's doing. But I don't see any news.
Brittany is asking me, how much am I pulling in per hour for smacking the golf ball into the water? Unfortunately, 0. We all can't be Amanda, I'm afraid. If you meant something else, let me know. I didn't catch it.
Hey, look at Voyager finally.
Are we trading up? Thank God I didn't get stopped out of this bad boy.
We are getting some better price action that we've had since the open. Where the SPY's turning around. Okay, well, all right.
Crow saying, Ryan, I was ready to break into companies to get info like Bud Fox. You want to talk about taking Wall Street to the next level? Crow's got you covered on that one. Good stuff, Crow.
Well, folks, it looks like SPY is and the market's starting to turn around here as we're about to wrap up.
And guess what? It stopped just at 603. Stopped just at 603.
The SPY?
Yeah. I mean, let's see. I don't know what the exact. I've got it at 603 here. I can't. Let me actually bring it up. I'll give you an exact number. I'm trying to eyeball it off of a chart that's rather small on my screen. We have the high print here, 603.13.
Now, you saying that it's 603 and my name, or that's the print? I'm just messing with you. Yeah, that's the level we were talking about yesterday, because I think you had mentioned we're watching to see if it can close over 600. And I pointed out 603 because on a monthly chart, we have not, even with those, making the new all-time high back in those months, we still have not had an open or a close on a monthly chart above 603. Came very, very close. Haven't got one yet. I think 603 is a very important level to watch for based on that price action we've had late last year and earlier this year.
Jay, do you know what a Polaris golf ball is? I don't think so. Is that the one that explodes when you put it on the tee and you get your buddies to hit it? Is that what you're talking about? No. All right, 13. We're out here for the day. Any closing words for the group?
Hey, it was a fun day talking about
Sure
cards and all kinds of other stuff, and some stocks weren't behaving for us. But hey, a couple of them ended up doing pretty well. Going to our trend lines are pretty close. So there's still some more trading we can do later today, folks. Keep it, if you're doing it, keep your eyes open for those setups and trade them how you want to trade them. But for now, I'll be off. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll trade some more, and we'll have a good time then. Take care, everybody. See you then.
Thanks, 13. We're going to close the week out strong tomorrow. Be sure to be back. Folks, thanks everyone for your participation here today, as well as your support. We really appreciate it for you. Glad to hear that folks are generating ideas and making money off of what we're doing. That is the goal. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused, and we will catch you